Hey guys, it's Kurt Angle. You are listening to the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to listen to the incomparable Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts, Scott and Holly. So sit back, relax, and prepare to be entertained. Hello everybody and welcome to episode number 19 of the Win Twice Wrestling Podcast with your hosts Scott and Holly.
Hello.
How you doing, Holly?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad for a Sunday. Not bad for a Sunday. Busy day yesterday, but you know, always raring to go for one of these recordings. And I guess before we go into the show that we're covering, we'll do the usual bits and pieces of covering any particular news-related story or anything that caught our eye in wrestling that's worth discussion. And I think, from what I understand, you have something that you wanted to raise.
Only the one.
Yeah.
It was just that I saw this week that good old fan favourite of mine, Matt Hardy, was with his wife apparently, and they went on a date night to a Raw filming, I do believe.
Is that a date night? Are we classing?
I'd classify that as a date night.
Well, yes.
They were in a box.
Okay, he was in her box.
No. Stop it. So to me, that's date night. If you get dinner and a couple of drinks, it's a date night.
So we've been on a date then?
We have had dinner a few times, haven't we?
We have, yes. Which I treated, which is fine, but I didn't know that was the rule. I'm just saying, you've got a 3-date rule, so we must be approaching that.
God.
Do you think he'll go back to WWE? Do you think there's any benefit in that?
Sorry, I can't believe you just said that. Yeah, actually, bring him back.
What would he do?
Not for nothing major. I would bring him back to kind of plod on to have his retirement finish at WWE.
Yeah, I think he's... well, I guess he could transition to do some sort of backstage agent work, perhaps. I don't know how well he is acclimated to doing something like that, but...
It's a fancy word for a Sunday morning.
It was, you know. I was about to say I've had my breakfast, but I've had nothing.
No, me neither.
I'm running on absolute
There'll be
fumes.
stomach rumblings throughout this, I think.
Running on fumes
we
today.
Are fasted podcasting today.
Unintentionally, to be fair. It's just so I couldn't be bothered to get up and get anything, if I'm being honest. So I was just trying to think before we started recording, was there anything that caught my eye in wrestling? I saw, like I said, Dominic Mysterio looks like he jumped his old man again.
Absolutely.
Am I bothered about seeing that? No. I feel like that's kind of died a death. That's run its course.
Yeah, agreed.
I think I saw that there's a triple threat now. So originally the WrestleMania match for the US title, I thought they were building up to be Logan Paul against Randy Orton 1-on-1.
Yeah.
Looks like Kevin Owens is getting involved in that now.
That's a three-way.
Yeah, so I only just...
Cheeky three-way.
Yeah, I only just recently learnt that.
Yeah.
That could be good. And also, I think this marks Randy Orton's 5th triple threat at a WrestleMania.
Oh, lovely.
That's got to be a record.
Wouldn't mind being in a triple threat of him.
And I think he's won 2 of them.
Good, okay.
So I think he beat, from memory, so don't shoot the messenger, when Legacy had a triple threat match. So it's him, Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase. I'm pretty sure he won that.
Okay.
And I think he won the triple threat where it was him, Triple H and John Cena for the world title. I know he's lost others, like with Kurt Angle and Rey Mysterio. He lost that one. And I believe there was another one which isn't coming to my mind, which he lost as well. Okay. So he's batting 50% at the moment. Lovely. So this will swing one way or the other for him.
Okay.
I've got a horrible feeling he might do something here, but we'll see. I think it'll be a fun match. It'll be a fun match if
those three
nothing
together
else.
would be great.
And I think, as well, again, this might have been cemented prior to my awareness of it, but it looks like night 1 of WrestleMania is going to be the Bloodline tagging against Cody and Seth Rollins in the main event.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been confirmed. Oh, well, no, it can't be. So that must be The Rock's only match.
I'd assume so.
He'll do something. He'll definitely do something.
I think then night 2, he interferes with the match, causes Reigns to lose his title, which then builds up to Rock versus Reigns.
That, to me, would be a shame if that's the way it went down. I think if they're going to use him for something like that, have him come out and stop the interference from Solo. Don't have him be the... because then Cody gets his moment, but it's because The Rock gave it to him.
Yeah,
I want Cody to have earned it.
Yes, me too.
Cleanly.
Yeah.
So for me, it makes sense for The Rock to come out and stop Solo.
the interference. Oh yeah, let's hope
That's
for that.
how I would do it.
Okay.
If you had to do something like that.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much everything that caught my attention this week.
Yeah, I can't think of anything else. I'm looking forward to the ladder match though. I think it's like the 6-way ladder match. I think for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
Nice.
I do like a ladder match.
That'll be chaos.
Absolutely. But I'm back in DIY here, so is that what they're called?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Tommaso Ciampa and Gargano, give me that.
Absolutely, all day long.
I want a WrestleMania moment for them. So yeah, absolutely, I'd co-sign on that one. I just missed WrestleMania having Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Because that was exclusively originally on WrestleMania when it was first started, and then it was for several years. And then it was moved to its own pay-per-view.
Oh, I see.
And it's not the worst. I don't like the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I told you that, where it's forcing storylines into that. So I kind of now have to look at Money in the Bank as the same way I look at the Royal Rumble. It's a match there that does serve a purpose.
Yes.
But I did really enjoy having that, because that always felt like you were guaranteed to get a great moment on WrestleMania because of that match. And I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit...
Yeah.
I feel like WrestleMania lost a bit of something when that was taken off it.
Fair.
So hopefully this is a replacement of sorts, because there's ladders involved.
Yeah.
And nary a Jeff Hardy to be seen anywhere amongst it.
Makes me so sad.
Yeah, he's probably got a concussion, bless him. So I think that's everything that we wanted to discuss from this week in wrestling. Yeah. And to mark a change of pace from the shows that we've done pretty much since the beginning. I mean, we kind of skirted around this type of event elsewhere. In fact, in the first full episode we did. But it was a sanitised version of this company. And Holly, for episode 19, we are going into the land of extreme.
Aren't we?
The real original ECW, no WWE fingerprints all over this. And we are covering ECW Living Dangerously 1999.
Yes.
There's a reason I picked this show.
Oh, okay.
It became apparent, I think, for you, probably when you were watching it.
Okay.
As there was a particular match on the card that I wanted you to see.
Oh, let's see if I can work out which one it is.
I reckon you could probably have a good, educated stab.
I hope so. If not, this will be ridiculous.
No, I'm pretty sure it's you've seen it. We're talking like we haven't seen the show. You must know.
I have watched it. I hope so.
And I thought this would be difficult for you.
Yeah.
For two reasons.
Okay.
And I mean ECW, not specifically this show.
No, yeah.
I meant as a brand. ECW, for me, growing up.
Yeah.
Was the right kind of edgy, but even for someone like myself that liked a lot of what they presented, it was almost a 50-50 split. I'd either really like what I was watching or go, I really don't want to see this.
Okay.
And I think that's a trend throughout a lot of ECW shows. Some were better than others, obviously, and some were worse than others. I mean, that's just
the same with every brand, I
par for the course. And the reason I picked the show, like I said, was for a specific match that was on the card, and I'll mention what it is now.
Okay.
Rob Van Dam against Jerry Lynn.
Yeah, okay.
I couldn't recall the rest of the card. I've definitely seen bits and pieces of it before, but I don't think I've ever given it a watch through from start to finish.
Okay.
So a lot of this was new to me, and it was kind of actually tying and weaving threads together of things that I knew had happened, but couldn't work out the genesis of where it had started from or how it culminated. And as an overview, I think it's safe to say that there were moments in this where I was like, this is toilet. But there were other moments where I was like, do you know what, I'm really enjoying this. Yeah. And pleasingly, this was a show that I was able to find out Dave Meltzer's review system for and what he scored it. Do I agree with everything he did? No.
I'm definitely going to be well out of kilter on this one.
Well, this will be interesting because you and Dave seem to be of kindred spirits when it comes to the older...
and good old Dave.
Yeah, Uncle Dave. You seem to be on the same wavelength when it comes to the older WrestleMania shows.
Okay.
From what we've seen so far, your batting average is very good.
That luck is going to run out here. I say this every time, but I do think this could be the one that
I don't know, we're about 6 shows into using this system, and you've been pretty much...
Hey, when he wants to retire, I'm ready.
Brilliant. Yeah, every Jeff Hardy match that's ever been will be
10,
a 5-star.
10.
Exactly. So, the ECW Living Dangerously 1999 show took place on the 21st of March 1999. It was Asbury Park Convention Hall in Asbury Park, New Jersey, home of Bam Bam Bigelow, of infamous nature from the podcast of recent episodes. The attendance on the night was 3,900 and the buy rate was 82,000, but you have to bear in mind
it
was ECW, so by looking at their shows, I think this is still one of the highest that they've ever mustered.
People were crammed in there. It looked busy.
That's what I was going to say. Given that this is probably the smallest attended show that we've covered, the atmosphere blew most of the others away.
Like crazy.
And we're talking about, like, we've heard big moments in some of the shows, like WrestleMania 1, I vividly remember the pop for Bruno caught me off guard, and obviously everything that we've seen Hulk Hogan at.
Of course.
But the atmosphere in terms of general level of consistently strong performances, now don't get me wrong, it's an ECW crowd. You know what you're signing up for with a lot of their chants, a lot of their verbose loudness at all times. But I find that more often than not, it gives more than it takes away from a show.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's just such an atmosphere and you want to feel like you're a part of it. Now don't get me wrong, I don't want to be in there with the muggles. Like, that's an environment where, you know, you're in danger. But not you specifically, one must feel like they're in danger. And I'm looking through, like, individuals of the crowd.
Oh yeah, I would look at this and be like, this is not the place for me.
Yes.
I'm not safe here.
Having said that,
I'm going to get squashed.
I think I mentioned it later on when I spot it, when a couple of other people are going through the crowd.
Yeah.
I see kids in the crowd and I'm like, this is not for you.
Yeah.
Like, and they're, if I'm guessing, we're talking 13, around that age. So obviously they would have been there with a parent, but if I'm a parent, I
know what you mean. It's a rowdy crowd.
Yeah, like, I'm not a prude by any stretch of the imagination, but I wouldn't let my kid go and see an ECW show until they were 16.
Okay.
I don't think.
Fair.
15 maybe I'd make an argument for.
Yeah.
These, I don't think, these were clearly not 15-year-old kids. So at least there were none nearby, like in the first few rows, because that could have been a whole different story with some of what we saw on the show. With ECW, Holly, I'd like to ask you a question.
Oh, God, okay.
So you had it in your head from the first full episode we did, which was ECW One Night Stand 2006, so the second One Night Stand. You had an idea of what to expect kind of with this show. Mm-hmm. What were you anticipating? So forget what you actually saw. Yeah. What were you anticipating before we started watching this?
Like a house show type vibe, like when we went to see Progress.
Okay.
So something like that, small. Again, like, because I'd seen the crowd in the last one, I knew the crowd were going to give it, no matter if there's 10 of them there, it would be loud. But I had no sort of idea of, because I never watched ECW.
No?
Never. I just didn't know what to expect. That always puts me on edge. We know I don't like the unexpected.
The thing that I thought would be a real struggle for you, not so much the violence side, I thought that would be...
that's fine.
I didn't think that would be
no problem with people doing that.
No, but I also know you have a cut-off for it as well, where it becomes too much, you're like, no, I don't like that.
Yes, I do.
My concern was, I thought, if they have a lot of backstage interviews here, I know they would do the handheld camera type vibe.
Oh, don't you worry. I've got many a comment on this fucking handheld camera, I tell you.
It goes
the
with the
person doing it's got Parkinson's, I think, that's for sure, because they are shaking it around like there's no business.
It goes with the theme of the whole aesthetic of the show, but also it fits within the budget.
This annoyed me so bad. I've got it commented down in the actual places where it happened.
You ever seen Cloverfield?
I turned it off after like half hour because I can't be doing with that.
That's what the vibes I was getting from this.
I can't be doing with that. That's... No. Honestly, just one of you have a camera that isn't held in your hand or on your shoulder that looks like you're laughing and jumping around.
Shoestring budget. Like I said, it worked with the aesthetic, but it also worked within Paul Heyman's very restricted budget. It's nice to know... Did you think you were going into this with an open mind, though?
I did.
Okay,
I actually fully did.
Right, I like that.
I've been quite good at doing that recently.
Do you know what?
With wrestling only, yes.
The fact that you've survived... I say survived like it was an ordeal, but the first few WrestleManias, and you've not come out hating it, I think you've probably impressed yourself.
I'll be honest, I have.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, if you can deal with that, you can pretty much deal with anything wrestling footage-wise that we'll be watching. So that's great.
This is only wrestling based, though. Let's just be clear on that.
Yes. Sorry, I thought that was fully understood.
Not in my life.
I didn't know I had to make it expressly said, but yes. So in a change from any show we've covered as of late, we see Steve Prazak standing outside the Asbury Park Convention Hall, awaiting the arrival of Taz, and this is Taz with one Z. Okay.
Oh, and
clear
no
distinction.
sunglasses.
No sunglasses, and he's outside. The one time where he could have actually gotten away with it. You must have been furious.
This whole interview thing is so stupid.
Well, yes. One, because when Taz arrives, so Taz does arrive in shot, the ECW champion.
Finally.
He walks into shot from the side where there's no entrance, so he's just walked around the outside of the building from the sea. Unless he's walked out of the ocean.
Oh, maybe.
Like fucking Hasselhoff. Tasselhoff, we'll call him here.
Tasselhoff.
I don't know why he's come that way. Boggles my little mind. So Taz is asked about the first title unification match in ECW history, and he lets us know that he busted Sabu's jaw a month ago. Legitimate.
Okay,
Right,
I actually did have a question
Yeah,
later on in the match to say, is this actually legit?
They didn't particularly get on, to be
Okay.
honest. I think, to be fair, they're both quite polarising characters, and they just butted heads a lot. They worked well together,
Yeah.
and I don't think it was intended. And we actually also, in that injury to Sabu's jaw, I'm pretty sure because it was on a clothesline from Taz, and Taz injured some of the ligaments in his arm from hitting the point of Sabu's jaw, so he didn't come out of it unscathed either. So yeah, we learn about this. Speaking of jaws, great facial hair on the human suplex machine. Like, I'm not even being sarcastic.
Okay.
It works for him. If I had that, it would be stupid. It would look ridiculous.
There's only one way to find out.
Well, I'm not going to do that, just to be clear. Not for nothing. Okay. So, Holly, this is the badass era of Taz I was referring to before. So, you know how I was calling him under WWE, like Oompa Loompa, making derogatory comments like that?
Yeah.
Give me this Taz.
Yeah.
This is entirely the Taz that I'm referring to. So, from being portrayed as such a relative, let's be fair, joke, the way he was put forward in WWE, it's amazing that he could be seen as so legitimate, because he's not a tall lad. He's like 5'7", 5'8", something like that. But he's built stocky.
Yeah.
But his suplexes, granted, I love me Kurt Angle, a Chris Benoit suplex.
Yes.
Taz's variety of suplexes is untouched.
Okay.
For me. So I will give praise where it's deserved, and for Taz in this era it is deserved. And this is the Taz I wanted in WWF. And for one match he got that in his debut. That is it. Which we'll have to cover that actually at some point, because it's against one of our boys, Kurt Angle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Taz says, like a shark smelling blood in the water, or as he later corrects himself, like stink on shit, he will attack Sabu's jaw. Now this is the first, for me, where I noticed, I thought, they haven't bleeped any of this.
Right.
But they have.
Right. This, again, confuses me, and I come to it later. I couldn't work out throughout this whole show what was acceptable to say and what wasn't.
My guess as to what they did was they would have run the audio through some sort of engine, because you wouldn't have had... Because if they did like have a gentleman or a woman sitting through watching this show, there's no way they would have missed most of the stuff that they missed. Yeah. I think they just plug the audio through one of those systems that would detect it, and then they'll say, right, this, and this, they need to have bleeps. So someone will just go through and bleep those moments.
Well and truly out there. Other stuff wasn't. There's confusing.
One particular, which isn't a swear word, but it's a very derogatory term that's used in this show, and that doesn't get bleeped.
Okay.
And I thought, arguably, that's maybe the worst thing that's said on the show.
If I pick that up.
I will not say what the word is.
We'll see if we get... No,
but I will say what...
It was that time.
You'll know what it was when I get there. So, yeah, like stink on shit, he will attack Sabu's jaw. Taz says, what champ out there can beat him? Ric Flair? He's a 50-year-old man. So I think he was referencing the fact that Ric Flair was WCW champion around this time.
I did wonder why that kept being brought up.
Steve Austin? Tremendous entertainer. Good athlete too, but he can't beat me.
Okay.
Maivia? Rock getting a shout out. Mankind? Hogan? All get bullets. All of them get bullets. He's firing from the hip, is old Taz. And then, I will be honest, again, another bit of credit to him. He had one of my favourite catchphrases at the time.
Yeah.
Beat me if you can, survive if I let you.
Oh,
love that.
Okay.
Love that from Taz. Great line. And now we see Joey Styles in the ring.
Yeah.
What's your first thought of seeing this arena, Joey Styles in the ring? Were you thinking I'm kind of right with me anticipating it being like a progress-looking event?
100%.
Okay.
100%.
Right, fair enough. So it was kind of ticking those boxes for you.
So far, yeah.
Calming the voices in your head. So
yes.
We see a shot of the heaving Asbury Park Convention Centre with Joey Styles in the ring. This was fairly standard for Styles to start the shows.
Okay.
This is kind of what they did. Later on, when he was partnered with Joel Gertner, who we actually see later in the show, you'll know who he is when we get to talking about him. And sometimes he did stuff with Cyrus, who we also see later in the show. It's just the way that he would kind of get the crowd amped up, and then they do like a opening package, which I believe is what they kind of did here. Cannot stress how well Joey Styles did as a one-man commentary booth.
Oh, yeah. That's hard work, that is.
Because he's doing everything. He's having to talk through the moves. He's having to add importance. He's colouring in between the lines. He's literally doing the job of two people.
Having nobody to bounce off as well must be hard sometimes.
But
like,
it works
crazy.
for him.
Oh, it does, yeah.
I can't imagine anyone else. Like, I love JR. You love JR.
Yeah.
Can you imagine him doing a one-person job?
Maybe, but I don't know if... Yeah, I don't know. I just think you'd need someone to bounce off.
That's it. I think he would need someone to bounce off. But I'd be interested to listen to it. Maybe not now, but back then for sure. He says there will be no paid off judges at ringside and no predetermined draws. Interesting, that latter part. Did you understand why? Because it was a theme of the night why they kept referencing judges and being paid off and corruption.
No.
So, around this time, I think just beforehand, there had been a World Heavyweight title unification bout, I believe it was, between Lennox Lewis and Evander Holyfield.
Yeah.
Lennox Lewis, by all accounts, clearly won that fight, but they judged it, or the judges that came back with the scorecards made it a draw.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, this is ridiculous. Someone must have been paid off, and that's why Don King gets a reference, because he was the promoter behind the show. And it's a theme that they pick up, and they just capitalise on a real-world situation.
Yeah.
For those that are interested in the rematch between Lewis and Holyfield, Lewis won comfortably. But this was what was happening at this time.
Thanks for that.
That's why I said someone, because I know you weren't. So I was extending that offer to the people out there.
Over me, I'll be honest.
It glazes over you.
It glazes over me.
Not you glazing over it.
Nah, it glazes over me.
Whew, bloody hell. So Styles bigs up the main event of the night and confirms that Don King is banned from the building. I'll be honest, I don't think he was looking to turn up to Living Dangerously 99, but I could be wrong. Holly, also, what do you think of the pay-per-view name being plastered in the centre of the ring on the canvas?
I neither here nor there, I'll be honest.
I liked it.
It's odd to me because it's not a clear canvas, but also I'm not really bothered.
I just thought you'd have strong opinions one way or the other.
No, I didn't actually. I just wish all wrestling companies had black mats.
Yes, I agree.
That for me it looks so good.
Yeah.
You don't see the sweat patches. You don't see the deep heat marks. You don't see the fake tan. No, it's just clean. Yeah. I like it to look cleaner.
The old NXT ring we're referring to, Progress has a dark ring as well. There's plenty out there that do kind of adopt this. And I agree, aesthetically speaking, I like it. I like having the ECW, even the logo, but the pay-per-view name being on the canvas. To me, it works. Oh, yeah. I think that's good. I don't want to see that in WWE. And I know, and I'm not just saying that because obviously they've got that Prime deal now where they're going to have stuff on the... For WWE, for some reason, I don't want that. But in other smaller companies, I quite like it. Okay. Don't know why I've got that distinction in my head, but I do. Preference. Fair. Yeah, but I can't justify why.
Oh, there's many a thing I have an opinion about and I can't justify why, so I can't argue.
These are facts. Never a truer word spoken on this show, ladies and gentlemen. So we get the show video package to kick things off.
That someone made on PowerPoint.
Oh, 100%.
In GCSE IT.
Yeah, what was it called? Elements.
It's so funny.
Is that the name of the software tool back in the day? We get the standard grimy and grunge-filled video footage of the current crop of ECW wrestlers, and this music to me as a kid meant I was about to see something dangerous.
Okay.
Safe to say, Holly, that the show opening has stressed you out.
Yeah. I came here with an open mind.
That you did?
But I'll be honest, the first 5 minutes made me start to get a bit nervous. I was like, oh, okay. And then, actually, as soon as the wrestling started, I was fine.
I was hoping that would be the case. Speaking of the wrestling starting, we move to our opening match of the night. Two people you're actually familiar with now.
I know.
We get Super Crazy, the crazy luchador, or the insane luchador, I should say, against Yoshihiro Tajiri.
I didn't realise this was Tajiri, I'll be honest, until obviously they introduced him, but I was like, no way, no.
So what Holly's referencing here is the fact that Tajiri didn't have facial hair, same haircut, just wasn't wet, and instead of the long black trousers, I guess, with the dragon design on there that we're accustomed to him wearing in WWE, he had on blue and white pants, blue and white boots with kick pads on. I didn't hate the look, but it's the traditional Japanese looking attire for someone who doesn't have a quirky gimmick. Yeah. So Tajiri at this time, I believe, was out on excursion from Japan. So I think I've mentioned to you before what they tend to do in Japanese wrestling is they start off training their talent up. They get to a certain point where they go, we've taught you the basics, go learn your craft overseas, go to another territory, develop, come back and be something for us. And I think this was part of Tajiri's growing process before he developed into the character that we all know and love. Great way to kick off this show with two guys that Holly knows and likes.
I do. I really do.
The wettest Jerry curl hair you will ever see on Crazy. And holy shit, how young does Tajiri look?
He was 29.
Tajiri was 29?
I worry when I do these that I've got something wrong, but I do check them. I use a calculator and everything.
No, yeah.
And Super Crazy was 26.
Yeah, I would have flipped those ages.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah. Ah, wow.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense with Tajiri's age, but maybe he just got a later start into the business. And to be fair, maybe I'm wrong on the excursion part, but to me, this was before I had any awareness of what he did. So that's when he landed on my doorstep, so to speak. Clean shaven with blue and white trunks, very different from what we're accustomed to, safe to say.
Yep.
Styles on commentary says whomever wins this match will win the feud. Okay. They said they've had like 5 or 6 matches and this is going to be the final one. Wild spinning kick by Tajiri misses to start things off. He just throws a leg out there and Crazy walks out of the way. Then we get a lovely opening exchange between the two with takedowns galore that ends with a standoff, and he put a stiff off. Standoff. It definitely didn't end in a stiff off, just to be clear. Where am I done? It wasn't obvious to me if that was the case. End in a standoff. Super Crazy lands on his feet off an attempted monkey flip. The crowd appreciated that.
Yeah. Very nicely, like, quick pace. I'm glad this was the first match.
The peak of the W.
Because, and it really, especially with the build-up, I was like, oh, my God. And then it started, I was like, oh, okay, interest peaked.
Knuckle lock and a brief test of leverage sees Crazy gain an advantage, but Tajiri uses his boots to stop Crazy landing on his thighs and hits a lovely Hurricane Rana that is countered into a sunset flip.
Very nice. Very nice.
Knuckle lock, monkey flip by Crazy results in a similar sequence by Tajiri, but Tajiri takes him down with a wheelbarrow forward roll, is what I called that.
Oh, okay.
Crazy leaps to the top rope and back flips before an arm drag exchange. Both front flip kip up, and we have reached standoff number 2, and the crowd are very supportive of this.
Yes, I literally, my point is, this is actually amazing. I really enjoyed this.
I'm loving this already, as are the fans.
Yeah.
Tajiri hits a handspring back elbow and a flying head scissors before Crazy slaps his nipple clean off.
Yes, it really does.
Proper nipple slap, that one. Crazy runs at the prone Tajiri, but is elevated high into the air and only just lands on the ramp.
Yes.
Only just.
I know.
That was great, though. I like the sequence.
And then almost landed on his feet as well, and I was like, oh, this is nice.
Yes. So we should have mentioned as well that at this particular point in ECW, not all shows, but certain shows, they would have an elevated ramp, much like they did in the early 90s in WCW. They had something similar. So it's like a walkway that's the same
straight
level
into
as the ring.
Yeah.
And that plays in a few matches. So thought I'd get that out there now. Tajiri hits a somersault plancher over the corner to the floor. I'm not used to seeing Tajiri do that.
Could you say that again, but slower?
Somersault plancher.
Plancher.
I
thought it's called a plunger.
A somersault plunger.
I didn't know. See, and I was like, I'll just go with it. But I liked it enough to write it down.
All I'm imagining there, though, the plunger, is I'm imagining he goes over, lands arse first on his head, and you hear like a noise like that when he hits him. Yeah. And that is not what you want to hear when a man lands on you arse first. I can imagine. He smashes Crazy's head into the ramp. Punt to the face for good measure before a very pretty acai moonsault in a very tight space.
That's delightful. Absolutely.
Because he did it between the ramp and the barricade. So there's genuinely about less than 4 foot, 3 foot maybe to land that. And he does. Clothesline by Crazy and both men are back in the ring. Fireman's carry slam by the insane luchador. Crazy keeps levelling up with these moonsaults, which gets a 2. Tajiri is sat on the top turnbuckle. Crazy rains down with fists and a kick leaves Tajiri hanging upside down in a tree of woe.
Of course.
Drop kick by Super Crazy. Springboard to the perpendicular second rope for a moonsault gets 2.
Perpendicular?
Honestly, do you know how difficult it is to write the notes down for some of this action we're seeing?
Fancy. You should see mine. They're absolute dog shit.
He bounces onto cable.
Yes.
And flips upside down.
Hey.
How close am I to the truth?
Yeah, pretty close.
Sunset flip by Tajiri then gets 2. Second fireman's carry slam, but Tajiri gets the knees up, and then we see exactly why Tajiri has some of the absolute best kicks in the business.
Yes.
Beautiful. Crazy gets hung upside down and an unbelievable basement drop kick hits.
Very nice.
Super Crazy sells like he has been shot in the head.
Yeah.
2 count. 2 more murderous kicks follow. Crazy misses a moonsault and a kneeling drop kick from Tajiri gets 2. Lovely sunset flip by Crazy gets 2.
Yes.
Is this a bit where...
Is this
next bit?
Yeah, cool, okay.
Do you want me to mention it, or do you want to mention it?
Oh, no, you go for
Okay.
it. Your notes will be far better than mine. Mine just says something so basic.
The luchador leaps to the top, but misses his footing and
Yeah.
falls hard.
Oh, that had me, like, suck in a breath of air quick.
Tajiri leads a "you fucked up" chant.
Doesn't he just? It's very funny.
Very funny. And he's done that before. I've seen Tajiri, when opponents have missed stuff like that, clap at them sarcastically and then get the crowd to chant at them, which I quite liked.
Okay.
He lent into it. German suplex by Tajiri gets 2. Super Crazy with a low blow and sit-out powerbomb for 2. Second attempt at the powerbomb ends in a mess as Tajiri counters, like, I don't know. It's just...
Yeah, mine said it was a bit messy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because it was going really well up until Super Crazy's first botch.
Yes.
Then it loses a little bit of momentum. We then get a lovely Hurricane Rana by Tajiri, but Super Crazy rolls all the way through and holds on for the 1, the 2 and the 3.
Nice. Very nice.
You enjoyed that?
Really enjoyed it.
This was the type of match that I loved in ECW.
Yes.
What if you were scoring this match? Because you are scoring this match.
I have actually remembered to score this match. I actually gave it 3 out of 5. And I've put a little reasoning in here.
Okay.
I've put my really high vocab skills here. Right, ready?
Go for it.
It was really impressive.
Yeah.
There was a lot of it was like a mix for me of high flying, quick pace, intricate moves.
Technical, yeah.
Technical, thank you. That's
No,
the
sorry, I
word.
wasn't trying to belittle you. I was, yeah.
No,
I was agreeing with
true.
what you were saying.
There was something... I wanted to weirdly score it a little bit higher, but there was a little bit of something that was missing, but I could not put my finger on what actually that was.
Yeah.
But... Oh, and then I have put a note here saying at some points it seemed a little bit too choreographed, which I understand.
Yeah.
But 3 out of 5. I still think that's pretty high for me.
That's one of the highest scoring opening matches we've
Isn't
got.
it?
I'll let you know what Dave scored it and what I would have scored
Okay.
it after, but you touched upon choreographed and how it looked a
Yes.
bit more of a performance
Yeah.
than actual a wrestling match,
Yeah.
which I'm aware is in itself a performance.
Yeah.
You would not be a fan of Mexican wrestling.
No. Is it very much
it's
so like...
more, it's like dance, right? This guy jumps off here, I catch it, spin round, doesn't look like I do anything, but then I fall through, I roll up, he comes in, we do a do-si-do, flip, bounce, and it looks more like a dance than it does a wrestling match. To me personally, I know that's not to everyone's taste, because I've really tried to watch some like LLL wrestling or AAA wrestling, and I just cannot get into it, because as soon as someone misses a step, it's so obvious that they've missed a step, because then the rest of it doesn't then follow through right. It's like they've just fucked up the entire routine and it's done.
Yeah.
So it's like as soon as you see an error, the wheels just fall off. From my experience of what I've seen.
Yes.
I'm sure there'll be some that I enjoy, but as a general rule, and that's Super Crazy's influence coming in from obviously being Mexican, having that background in the luchador style. Yeah. So I could see...
Yeah, it was still very good. It was
I agree.
At times, I think that's the thing that I was missing, but I couldn't pinpoint what that was, if you know what I mean. Like...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you gave it a 3, right?
Yeah.
Dave Meltzer gave it a 2.5. So
really?
You're still not miles off. I'd given it a 3.5.
Ooh,
I might have gone 3.75 if we didn't get the couple botches towards the end.
Okay.
Because I really enjoyed this match.
I'm glad it was first.
It had everything in there that I liked.
Yeah.
And ECW, as much as they showcased hardcore wrestling and was, the land of the broken toys, they had solid in-ring wrestling. Not only just like your cruiserweights, your luchadors, your technical wrestling. They catered a little bit to everything, and they went through periods where, for example, if they lost all their technical wrestlers, like when Eddie Guerrero, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn all went and left and went to WCW, they then went, okay, we'll bring in the Mexican luchadors because no one else is doing that.
Yeah.
And then WCW went, we like those as well. Now we'll take the luchadors from you. So that's why there's a lot of hostility between Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff, because every idea that Paul Heyman tried to cultivate within his ECW,
it was nabbed.
basically, Eric would come along with a checkbook, rightly so. I mean, that's smart. I mean, you can't see something that's working and then just go,
make someone do the hard work and think of it, and then you just cash in and go, well, I've got the funding to do it.
Absolutely. So as much as, you can bemoan Bischoff for doing
Think
that.
smart, not hard.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I would absolutely do that. It's just a shame, obviously, for the ECW fans. This is the moment where I thought, Holly's going to struggle with this bit.
Yeah. This actually would have made me get a drink, I'll be honest. Obviously still not drinking, so I can't, but, life.
And the moment we're referring to is we see RVD, Sabu and Bill Alfonso backstage with a handheld camera.
Honestly.
Time has ceased to exist. It's very 90s, to be fair. I'm surprised it didn't have, like, little kids opening Christmas presents around a tree.
Honestly, I thought it was going to be
with bowl
sick.
haircuts.
It was so... I thought, here we go. Motion sickness is going to come on here. This was awful.
Yeah, if you suffer from vertigo, don't watch
Awful.
any interviews on ECW.
No.
Like I said, it works with the aesthetic. I've mentioned it several times already, but I can understand how it could be off-putting for people as well. Janky handheld camera footage is bettered only by Bill Alfonso's janky teeth.
This guy. At this point, I didn't know who he was. Sorry, he would get a slap.
So Bill Alfonso is a former WWF referee.
Is he? Right. I'm sorry, but
I'll point him out when we see him.
He annoyed me this whole entire... I don't know what I'm calling it.
Show.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't
job.
disagree. That's what I was about to say. What do you think he's there to do?
Yeah. 100%.
So he was a former WWF official that came to ECW, did official work for them,
right,
and then kind of veered into the managerial side of things. And I think I referenced it on a previous episode, probably the ECW one, that he had arguably the bloodiest match in ECW ever with Beulah McGillicuddy, Tommy Dreamer's wife.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was something else. And I'll be honest, 9/10 of the blood was his.
Interesting.
He did not look well. He did not look a well man. So Bill Alfonso's Nashers are throwing up gang signs here.
Aren't they?
Mm-hmm. Sabu has his chin heavily strapped, but makes sure that Fonzie says he's 100%, because Fonzie goes to say he's not quite 100% and Sabu hits him. I must say I did enjoy this next interaction. RVD says it's a big night for Sabu, as he loves watching RVD against Jerry Lynn. Sabu grabs him. RVD goes, "Whoa, no, wait, let me correct that." RVD then corrects himself and says, "You're right. Sabu just loves watching me compete in general. I'm his favourite wrestler."
Yes.
Sabu grabs him again. They go to have a little tussle. RVD calms him down. Sabu keeps grabbing RVD, who says he isn't 100% and is Sabu's favourite wrestler.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
Did you?
I did, because it was just funny with Rob Van Dam just being an absolute relentless dickhead.
Yes. Fair.
Very funny.
That is fair. I think of all of the... Do we see another backstage one with RVD later? Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Compared to that, this is fucking Oscar-level performance.
I agree.
Yeah.
And then we kind of see RVD's very visible ceiling in the second interview.
Which we'll get there. I'll say it when we get there.
We now see Steve Corino stood in the ring.
Yeah.
Who
is he?
I'll give you some information on him in a second, Holly. I came prepared. A very sideburned and mulleted Steve Corino, might I add, is stood in the ring. He says he doesn't need steroids to look good.
Okay.
I'll be honest. You should have taken steroids, mate. You did not look good. Well, he sure as shit needs something here. He doesn't need to go overseas to have fans respect him, he says. Although, ironically, he did a lot of good work in Japan for 0-1. Steve Corino issues an open challenge to show how hardcore he is. Who answers? I'll tell you who answers, Holly. Fat Raven, a.k.a. Balls motherfucking Mahoney.
Every time this poor guy is on telly, I just have like 5 minutes of just laughing. I feel so sorry that I said that, but I can't get it out of my head. Even when I see him now, I'm like, no.
Oh, you've ruined him for me.
I know, I'm sorry.
Don't get me wrong, he was never one of my favourites, but every time I see him, my initial reaction is, I'm going to laugh here because of what Holly said. No, don't apologise. It was very funny and made for a wonderful clip for the YouTube account. So we've got Balls Mahoney walking down to the ring, and Axel Rotten makes the walk with Balls. And Holly, did you know that Balls had appeared in the WWF before his ECW time?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, so, with WWF, and this was at the time where everyone needed a profession, an occupation.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And don't get me wrong, he wasn't in the WWF for a long time, but he was there for a good time. And Ted DiBiase, we've covered him in our WrestleMania shows. Money's no objects. He can buy anyone. I'll tell you who he hadn't bought up to that point. Santa Claus.
Stop it.
So, Ted DiBiase tells everyone that he's bought Santa Claus, or should I say Xanta Claus with an X.
Yeah.
And out to the ring, dressed as Santa, comes Balls Mahoney, who in the WWF played Xanta Claus.
Oh.
He had about 3 matches there.
Oh.
One at a pay-per-view.
Oh.
That was it done.
Oh.
He debuted at a pay-per-view, I think. One of the
Jeez.
In Your House specials. So, yeah, and that was 1995. I know what you're thinking, Holly. What the fuck did I just say? And honestly, yeah, that did happen. It was actually In Your House 5 Seasons Beatings, so a Christmas-themed show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's what Balls Mahoney was doing there, Santa Claus. Put that on the CV, lad.
Jesus.
Yeah, as you can imagine, he didn't last long. And he was also then never mentioned again, really. No. Funny that.
They forgot about him.
Steve Corino, on the other hand, is currently a trainer and producer in the WWE.
That I did know, actually. Yeah, I did Google him. And I was like, no, I still don't know. And then I just saw that it says he works in NXT. And I was like, lovely.
The king of old school. So he was one of the latter-day main eventers. So he's not a Mormon, sorry when I say latter-day. He was one of the... It was close to the main event scene in ECW's last days.
Right.
So this is obviously not too long after he's made his first appearance for the company. And as everyone's getting picked off by either WCW or WWF at the time, he stayed there and he got a world title with them down the line. His sister was one of the, I don't want to say pioneer of women's wrestling because that's not the case, but she was prominent on the independent scene. Alison Danger, you wouldn't have heard of her because she never made it into the big time companies, but a lot of the independent shows that I've seen from the early 2000s, Ring of Honor, she was there. She used to manage Christopher Daniels. I believe she might have done some work in Shimmer. She must have done at some point in her career. So she was well travelled, and she was the sister of Steve Corino. Steve Corino's son, in fact, is also a wrestler.
Okay.
Kobe Corino, very small, but has his dad's early 2000s look, which is bleach blonde hair, always looking kind of wet, but he's just small in stature.
Okay.
And he's a bit of a daredevil.
Oh.
You'd probably think he's some sort of broken soul that you'd want to nurse back to health. We get a flurry of jabs by Balls. Big back body drop, there we go, leads to two oh my God, I'm going to start that sentence again. No, I'm not, because quite frankly, Raven,
Raven, are you sure you're alright?
No, I don't think so.
Do you want me to use my really high-tech notes
that
just say, big backdrop by Balls?
Yep, that's word for word what I've got here as well. It leads to 2 clotheslines, but Balls goes to the floor from a miss.
Is this when Corino really sells the clothesline early?
Yes, he tries to do the 360 and flip off the clothesline. There are a few people
before it's even hit.
It's not good.
A bit strange.
Yeah, he's already turned his back and flipping before the arm's near him. Yeah, that did happen. Baseball slide by Corino, who teases going over the ropes after spitting on his hands, but then waves it off.
Yeah.
He then changes his mind, but Balls catches him and whips him into a rotten clothesline. Now, I should explain something to you here, because you're thinking that's a disqualification.
Yes.
Because it's right in front of the referee.
But this was my logic here, is it because, I actually have this to ask you in a question later, because it's ECW, and this probably will sound stupid, is it anything effectively goes?
Yeah,
like you're not going to get DQ'd because you can do whatever you like.
That's exactly what I was going to say to you.
Oh, good. Okay.
They were like that you didn't see disqualifications in
No.
ECW. It didn't also mean that every match had interference, but it just meant pretty much whatever fancied being put out there was accepted.
Okay, I do have that as a question later on. I don't know why I didn't ask in this one.
I actually thought you'd be really frustrated with it, so I thought I would address it ahead of time.
I let it go because I figured this is okay for this brand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and
whereas
you're right.
in others, it's a bit like hit and miss.
But you're right, that's exactly the case. Back in the ring, and Balls hits a body slam. Up top, Balls connects with a monster frog splash, and I actually really like that frog splash.
It actually was quite good.
Yeah, he even gets the frog motion in it.
He's a big guy.
He's a big lad, he's a husky boy.
Big Balls is very large.
Big Balls is very large, and also, a man who's known to play Santa, they take to the sky because he's got to deliver all those presents, hasn't he, to the wanting kids of the world.
Yeah.
Crowds chant,
Use
the chair. Use the chair. But Balls instead misses a tope. Oh my God, imagine a tope from Balls. Top rope leg drop. Leg lariat by Corino, 2 count. Corino then does a weird, uncomfortable white guy Shane McMahon dance in the corner before hitting sweet chin music.
Oh, good. Yeah, I've put some weird ass hip motions going on here into a lovely kick.
Joey Styles says, "What was that?"
Yeah.
I agree, Joey. I agree. Carino then grabs a chair and teases using it. I thought he... No, he didn't. You're right. Yeah, Carino grabs a chair, teases using it. Instead, he sits on it and applies a chin lock. I laughed.
Fine. Yeah, I don't mind that.
I laughed. Quickly, Balls gets up and super kicks Carino off a corner whip. Now he has the chair and Carino will die.
Yeah.
Disgusting chair shot connects and Balls straddles Carino for the count of 3 like he's Alexa Bliss pinning Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Look at the fucking dent in that chair.
Yeah.
Balls and Axel celebrate. You felt uncomfortable.
Yes, I did. Not for the last time either.
And well, how do I word this? It was obviously acceptable in ECW then, and I must admit, seeing something like that when I was younger, I'd go, "Oh my god!" But in my head, I'm going, "I know wrestling's not real," so I'm thinking that's not a legitimate chair shot.
Yeah.
There's something going on here that means that it's not everything's not as it seems. But now we know. No, he just took a steel chair straight over the skull. That's horrendous. No wonder they get CTE and stuff like this. And now I see it, I get a very different reaction from how I see it back then.
Yes.
Give me a safe chair shot. Give me hands up to kind of block it. Because as we said, if someone's swinging a chair at you, you're going to put your hands up.
Well, I'd like to hope so, yeah.
Yeah, unless you're like, just end it.
Unless I don't see it.
Well, true. Yeah, it could be blindsided, or as Gorilla Monsoon would say, Pearl Harbored. Oh, I miss Gorilla. Imagine Gorilla Monsoon calling an ECW show.
I'd just like Jesse there, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Yeah.
Yeah, just pumping his guns and then walking off.
Yeah.
Gorilla. Right, what would you call this match?
I gave it a 1.5, which to me felt like, I don't know, I felt a bit harsh because I was like, oh, that first one was so good. But then also 1.5 also isn't that bad, but I've put good length, wasn't awful, wasn't amazing, it was fine.
0.25.
Oh, okay.
I would go 0.5 because it didn't really feel like a match to me.
Yeah.
Like I said, there was nothing awful in it.
It was just mid for me.
So I would go. That's why I'd go with half a star because it's for me. And again, like I said, I've given things half star before where I've been angry at it. I wasn't angry at this, but it didn't merit anything higher to me. So I'd go with half a star. We then see a Dudley's video package. They beat the pants off Perry Saturn. What? Sure. Right, so let me restart that one because I'm basically quoting what Joey Styles says in the video.
Oh, I see.
They beat the pants off Perry Saturn, the Shore out of Hack Myers, the Citizenship out of Masato Tanaka. I didn't know you could do that. The Extreme out of the Sandman, and they broke the neck of Beulah McGillicuddy.
Yes.
They didn't. But the whole thing behind the 3D originally was it was a neck-breaking manoeuvre.
Okay.
So that's what we're supposed to believe going into it. And to be fair, they built the move the right way because every time they hit it on someone, that person was pretending, were out of action. They were injured. They made a whole song and dance out of it. Fine. We learned that Mustafa was the one that paid off the Dodleys, the Doodles. We learned that Mustafa paid off the Dudleys to take out his gangster partner of New Jack. You're like, I don't know who Mustafa is. I don't know who New Jack is.
It's literally my notes have these names with question marks. And also in my head, I was like, oh, I don't bother looking at this point because I know the match is coming. And then the match didn't even come next. So I was well confused. I thought this was the build-up to the match that was coming.
Well, we do see... we see all the men, actually, that we just referenced in the show. I'll kind of go into a bit more of the background of the two that I know you're not familiar with when they arrive. From there, we go to a very different match.
Yes.
We get Little Guido with Big Sal versus Antifaz del Norte. I'll be honest, I like to think I'm well versed with a lot of wrestlers. I had to look up Antifaz.
Yes.
And I found out, basically that was his name, and that was about as much as I cared.
It was hard, wasn't it? There was barely any info at all, and the crowd clearly didn't care for it either because this was the only time I had them quiet.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. That's a fair comment. I just wanted to get his name down right because my notes would have been a mess otherwise, and we don't get the graphics of...
Until... Yeah.
Yeah, so it's by that point it's too late, so I had to look it up and go, who had a match with Little Guido on this show?
Oh, yeah, see, I think I Googled it, but when you type it into Google and you hope that it's going to auto-correct you, and it did, thankfully.
Did you mean antifreeze?
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean antifreeze. Little Guido comes in on the shoulders of Big Sal E. Graziano, which is always a sight to behold. I don't know why I like it.
Do you?
Yeah, I really do.
Oh.
Because it's just an odd thing to do.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
I'm not a fan, I'll be honest.
But just think about how they had to duck in to get
I mean,
through the entrance.
it's amusing because that was the first thought I had. I was like, how did they get through?
Like, Big Sal's tall enough to need to duck to come in, let alone with a man on his
That's
shoulders.
yeah, very strange.
Guido and Antifaz go nose to nose until Big Sal steps in between them. Don't know why he's playing Peacemaker in this one. You need through your phone there, didn't you?
Did.
Brilliant. The shadow boxing by the FBI man annoys me, but it is his thing, so I'll allow it.
Which one of them calls himself an extreme stud? Because
Extreme
I've
stud.
got that written down here with laughing faces, but I've no recollection of to who it is.
I want to say it would be, out of those three, it definitely wouldn't be Antifaz, and I don't think it's Little Guido.
I don't know. It's weird.
I thought
I've definitely heard it, so I
extreme
don't
stud.
know. I don't know where it came from.
I can tell you who the quintessential stud muffin is, though. That's Joel Gertner, but he's not yet
Stud
on the show.
muffin.
Oh, it's great. The shadow boxing, yeah, mentioned that. Where's my pizza? Chant because he's Italian.
Of course.
2 slaps by Guido. Start things off, but his kick is blocked. Go behind exchange. Thought you'd appreciate my terminology there.
I always enjoy
Small
go
package,
behind.
go behind exchange, slip out the back door.
Ideally not a small package and a go behind, but you know.
Bear with me a moment to gather my thoughts. Antifaz completely flips off a shoulder block, and Guido drops an elbow to the back. Pin gets 2. Read like piglets. Pin gets 2. Guido looks for an armbar, but Antifaz gets a rope break. Antifaz then hits a running single knuckle lock arm drag from the turnbuckles after slapping Guido's chest, and hits a super kick shortly after. Thought you'd quite like the running up the turnbuckles arm drag.
I do like that. I really struggled to
Care about this one?
Yes.
Because you're thinking it's not going to be as good as Super Crazy and Tajiri was.
100%.
I
And I know
thought the
that
same.
goes with the mode of my basis that I would do a wrestling show for. But I still don't like it when I see it.
Does this need to be less than the Balls Mahoney match
Yeah.
to continue the trend? It can't come up already, can it?
No.
Okay. Springboard missile dropkick sends Guido scurrying to the outside, but he's hit with a corkscrew plancher. Springboard sunset flip gets 2. Guido counters a Hurricane Runner into a powerbomb for 2. Guido chops and runs Antifaz into the buckles, but Antifaz returns his own. Sit out front suplex, or I think they call it a gourd buster to be fair, by the luchador also gets a 2. Side Russian leg sweep from Guido on the second rope as Antifaz takes too much time.
Yes.
Like so obvious that something he was waiting for something. Gets us a 2 again. Now Guido is powerbombed off the second rope whilst arguing with a fan for 2.
Yeah.
I like the move. Was dumb.
Yeah, fine.
Sleeper is countered by a jawbreaker by Guido, and a clothesline gets another 2.
Yeah.
Don't know if you heard it here. Boring chant.
Oh, don't you worry. I did hear it. I think I was
Were you
leading
doing
it
it?
from my house.
Love that. Antifaz goes up and over before hitting a running corkscrew senton from the top. Only a 2. Spinning heel kick sends Guido to the floor. Big Sal then catches the luchador and then kills him through a table. He goes full on body weight down.
Doesn't he?
Unbelievable. Sal throws him in, and then a Sicilian slice leads to a Sicilian crab, and Antifaz submits apparently.
Yeah, apparently he does. I don't
We
remember
don't see
seeing it though.
No, but I guess it was a verbal tap.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I think he was meant to tap and wasn't doing it for so long. The ref went, I don't know if you were going to do it, so I'm just going to call it.
Fair.
Fine. We then see Tommy Rich and Tracy Smothers come out to confront Guido before Smothers absolutely levels him. Did you not make any note of any of this action?
No, but I know it happened, and I'm pretty sure I wrote stuff down, but it's not here.
Well, if all your notes are gone now, we are in serious trouble.
No,
young
all my
lady.
other notes are very much so here, but I remember writing something about this, but obviously I don't remember now.
Then Tommy Rich makes the massive mistake, massive being the operative word, and uses the Italian flag to crack Big Sal twice, but is no use on the Marshmallow Mountain.
Oh, yeah.
He just no-sells it. And to be fair, when he looked angry, I was like, fucking hell, I'd be scared of that.
For sure.
Did
I
the
do
job.
like that, though, sometimes, you know, when people hit someone with something and they just turn around and go, nah.
Wait for the main event. What would you score that match, Holly?
I have scored it 0.5.
So it's coming down on your scale, so
Yeah.
we're still...
Yeah,
Wow,
I just
okay.
put, it's a bit hit and miss. I couldn't get behind it. I wasn't invested. Just couldn't,
No, I think that's fair.
couldn't do it.
I'll be honest, the only times I feel like I've been invested in a Guido match obviously he was Nunzio in WWE, was in the triple threats with the likes of Super Crazy and Tajiri.
Yeah.
Then I really liked it. One-on-one, not so much.
Yeah.
It was fine. So the rating that it was given by Dave was 1.25. I can't argue it, so I'm fine with that. I would have scored it higher than the Balls match because, like I said, that just didn't feel like a match to me. So I can't argue that one. We then see that ECW Online gets a plug.
Doesn't it?
When Online was shown with a hyphen. Simpler times, Holly.
Back in there.
Online. Not online.
Yeah, no, on. On the line.
Yes, on the line.
Online.
Went on the line, on the Facebook.
On the Facebook. All right, Grandad.
We now get to the match that I wanted us to watch this show for.
Okay.
The reason why I wanted to watch this show, again, is one, because I love it.
Right.
And two, is because I know you hadn't seen it.
Oh, I see. I thought you wanted to show me the guy that had the worst promo I've ever seen in WWF.
Oh, Jerry Lynn?
Yeah.
No, fortunately, he doesn't actually have to speak in
No,
this
he doesn't. But I thought, maybe this is his, like, what is the word? Not justification, but this is his,
Validation of him being...
Yeah, effectively. You've been like, you shite on the promo, but actually...
Well, as you recall,
yes.
during the Judgment Day review, I said I really enjoyed his in-ring work. This is a very good example of what I enjoyed. The first time I ever saw this match was on, I believe it was on Rob Van Dam's WWE DVD release.
Okay.
And ever since then, I tried to watch every bit of Jerry Lynn, Rob Van Dam I could, because they work so beautifully together. I think it goes from a wrestling match to me almost to an art form. I know not to sound too prosaic and wanky about it, but it just levels it up to the next degree. Like, there's pro wrestling, then there's this type of match for me.
Okay.
And funnily enough, we'll see how I score it when we get to the end, because you'd think based on that I'm going to be giving it something ridiculous, but I'll be honest, I can't remember. I didn't write it down, so I have to remember what I thought, because I know that I wasn't in agreement with the score that Dave gave it, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think at this point, when you went into the show, I think you were aware, probably, based on our conversations during the reviews, that this is probably the reason why I was getting you to watch it.
As soon as I knew this match was coming, I was like, I wonder if it's this one.
This is dangerous for you, because it can either, you can get so excited, really get into it and go, yeah, fantastic, or it can flip you the other way. You can have high expectations, it not deliver, and you go, it's okay.
Yeah, we know how my brain works.
And do you know, like, it sounds ridiculous to say this, but I'm genuinely concerned.
You tried so much during the week to get out of me.
I did. I just wanted a thumbs up, thumbs down.
I'm not telling you. Like, literally keeping it under my hat.
You may hear a grown man cry if Holly says that she didn't like this match. She doesn't have to love it the same as I do, but I don't want her to say I hated it. That's basically, that will kill me a little bit. So be honest.
I will. Don't you worry.
Oh, no. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Jerry Lynn versus Rob Van Dam, who's got Bill Alfonso in his corner, for the ECW TV title.
Yeah.
Interesting little tidbit on this. I can't remember the website I looked it up on.
Yeah.
I was trying to decide which Rob Van Dam, Jerry Lynn match I wanted to watch.
Okay.
And by all accounts, I saw in a few places that this match was voted arguably the best in Rob Van Dam's entire career.
Really? Okay. Fair.
Just in terms of the overall... I know if there's any down moments in this, I know exactly. I'll call them out where I think you'll not enjoy something.
Oh, okay.
Because I think there's a couple of moments I was like, Holly would be a bit annoyed here.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Real shame we get the generic music dubbed over Pantera for RVD's entrance, because he used to have Walk, which was so good and the crowd loved it.
Yeah.
And we don't even get his WWE version of his entrance theme.
It's generic, like... Very strange.
We see that a few times on the show where people have their entrances dubbed over just because of copyright, etc. So I understand it. I do. It's just still a shame.
Right. First things first. This guy, Alfonso with the teeth. Who the fuck gave him a whistle?
There it is. So, right, I was waiting for Holly specifically to mention this moment. I thought we'd already get a mention of it in the promo, but I don't remember him blowing the whistle there. It is... and. This is one of those things. I think I've commented on it in the actual match. I'm able to pretty much consider that to be the background noise in the match because I'm so familiar with hearing him do it.
Oh, no.
I can kind of tune it out, and my brain only re-engaged with it partway through the match. I went, Holly will be fucking hating that.
My third bullet point on this is I may actually have to watch this on mute. I thought I might have to just turn it off, like, no sound, because it's all I could concentrate on at one point, and I was like, I'm not watching what is going on, because all I want to do is kill this fucker with a whistle. I fucking hate whistles in real life as well.
I was about to say, anyone that knows Holly knows that you do not whistle in her presence for fear of vengeance.
Hate them. Absolutely hate them. Oh, it annoyed me so much.
But how good heat is that?
I suppose, yes, he's doing his job, but it's really fucking annoying.
Oh, it is. I don't disagree. Like, I don't love it. I can just tune it out a bit. That's because I'm used to it. I'm wondering if you see like 8 matches where he's there. I mean, we get 2 on this show. Maybe at that point you'll be just so numb to it. You'll be like, I'm not. Maybe
really
this will
fucking
cure
angry.
your whistling.
I don't think so.
No, okay, fair. It will just cement it, if anything. Holly, this match is the reason I picked this show for us to watch. I'll be honest. I did think it was later in the show though.
Okay, yeah. Because
it made sense to be later in the show.
It could work with my scale, though. Maybe. Just putting it out there.
Styles says that fans think this will be a walkover for Van Dam. That this will be Money in the Bank. I said no, not for another 6 years. Money in the Bank doesn't exist yet, so... Don't belittle my incredible jokes, okay? Phenomenal gear by RVD as always. But I must credit Lynn, as his attire is also on point, I thought.
And he looked good. And I think the guy, I can never remember his name, I know you've said it hundreds of times, but commentary do
Joey
say
Styles.
that he was off or something, like with an injury, and he's come back and he's got a new body shape, and I was like, he looks good.
Yeah, he had a couple very short stints already at this point in WWF and WCW. One of them was under a mask, I believe. I think actually both might have even been under a mask, and he just never was used right. He also had been in ECW before, and again, I think even Styles actually on commentary says that he probably wasn't used to the best of his abilities. Now he's being given that chance. Nice quick exchange between the two men, and it results in a pin attempt from a leg cradle for 1 by RVD. Starting off nice and fast.
Trez quick.
Buying myself some time to turn the page to get to the next part of my notes. Still, by the way, same match. I'm not at the end of the match, by the way, after a page and a bit of notes.
That's quite impressive. I mean, to be fair, scrolling through mine, I've actually got a fair few, but obviously
Love to hear it.
Not as many as yours.
Both men take a pause as the crowd chant RVD.
Yes.
Shoulder block by RVD off a collar and elbow. Leapfrogs by both men.
We know I love a leapfrog. If you're going to impress me, here we go. Start by doing this.
I would suggest any potential suitors of Holly, as you walk into a restaurant, just leapfrog the nearest bartender and then just sit down next to her.
The weird thing is I would find that absolutely fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I know you would. And also, get someone to film it, because I need to see that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
After the leapfrogs by both men, Lynn boots RVD in the gut. They exchange up and overs in the corner, but Lynn then connects with a springboard crossbody. Leg sweep by Van Dam, but he misses the somersault leg drop.
He does. Oh.
We're starting to see why maybe I like this match. The crowd clap as they take a pause, and RVD consults Fonzie. RVD chants once more.
Yeah.
Holly is already wanting to shove the whistle up Fonzie's arse, but I can tune it out, thankfully.
I love that you know me so well that you know that'll be pissing me right off.
Of course. Lynn looks for a leapfrog, but lands in the inverse atomic drop.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like that.
But clotheslines the hell out of Van Dam. RVD takes a powder on the floor and walks past the most irritating fan. RVD! RVD! RVD!
Oh, yeah, that is annoying, isn't it?
I was annoyed by that. I thought that would annoy you. I thought RVD taking a powder would also potentially annoy you.
I have written here, boo.
Back in the ring, RVD looks for a split-legged drop down, but Lynn drops a leg over his neck. Brilliant.
So good.
Drop kick and clothesline to the floor follows. Running senton from the apron causes RVD to crash into the guardrail.
Yeah. This is when I start to get a bit tense, I'm going to be honest.
Baseball drop kick sends RVD tumbling into the fans. Lynn then springboard crossbodies into the fans. ECW, ECW, ECW.
At this point, I've just written Jesus. Like, honestly, I was like, okay, now I need to calm down, else I'm going to have the worst, like, neck ache from just being tense.
You know that's not Jesus, though. That's Jerry Lynn.
Jesus.
Because I know he's got the kind of the facial hair. Yeah, Jesus. Jesus Lynn. RVD hits a drop kick as Lynn crawls into the ring. RVD then leaps. Okay, what have we got?
That fucking whistle.
That was the only time I commented on it. I knew it'd be annoying already. RVD leaps to the top rope, but Lynn drop kicks him all the way to the guardrail.
Oh, yeah.
RVD whips Lynn over the guardrail and hits a leg over the back of his neck.
Don't like that.
I know
I
you don't.
really don't like that. But I mean, it's good. But I watch it and I literally am holding my neck the whole freaking time.
Van Damme is known for doing this as well. So, well, specifically in ECW. Back off the guardrail, RVD goes with a springboard crossbody into the crowd. Lynn is now favouring his knee, I notice.
Yes.
Lynn is lying with his head upwards on the apron and Van Damme springs to the barricade to drop another leg.
Now, this to me also is one of those moves that I look at it, I go, okay, how? But I also go,
It hurts Van Damme.
you're
more.
hurting yourself in this too.
I agree on that one specifically.
Yeah.
I agree. 2 count. Backbreaker by RVD and Fonzie has thrown him a chair.
Oh, I wish he'd thrown the fucking whistle.
No, he's never going to do that. Wish it got inserted in him, maybe. Surfboard by Van Damme, who is lying on the chair. And I was like, I remember this spot.
See, I love the surfboard. Again, it's a move that you don't really see.
Did you not wonder
much.
why he did it on the chair, though?
I did, because I've
Uh-huh.
put a note being like, why is he on the chair? What's the point? Something clearly is coming.
A pin that he positions from the surfboard, which is great, before he then powers him back up with his legs, which is very impressive.
Yes.
He then powers him up entirely, moves out of the way, Lynn falls back first on the chair.
Brilliant.
Very clever. 2 count. Creative. With Lynn in the corner, RVD rolls, leaving the chair and looking for a monkey flip. But because this is fucking majestic, Lynn moves and counters with a sunset flip bomb from the second rope. His head hits the chair on the way down.
Lovely. But, I mean, you know what I mean.
Only 2 count.
Brilliant.
RVD counters a pile driver on the chair into a backdrop pin. They bridge up, which Holly loves.
I freaking do.
And Van Damme's Northern Lights suplex attempt is countered into a reverse DDT onto the metal. RVD looks dead.
Doesn't he?
One of the best sellers, honestly.
Yeah.
He really is. But only a 2. Now for my favourite spot of the night. Fonzie gets on the apron and is grabbed by Lynn. Van Damme distracts him, allowing Fonzie to swing a chair. Lynn blocks it, takes it from him, ducks a spinning kick from Van Damme, leaps over a leg sweep and leg drops RVD's head against the chair.
Spectacular.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
Beautiful, in fact, I've put here. How that isn't 3, I will never know.
No.
Lynn is stopped by Fonzie as he climbs the ropes with a chair. Up top, Lynn and Van Damme are tussling until Lynn cracks him with the chair twice. Van Damme, though, leaps and kicks the chair into Lynn's face and he falls through a table to the floor.
This is too much for me. This I didn't like. There's no padding on the floor either.
It's alright, it fell through a table.
Yeah, but still, like, it's... Oh, I know. I don't like it, but I do, if you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
it's so good.
Gritty.
But at this point, I was like, oh, someone's going to look like just being incapable of moving at this point.
Might I add, ECW, ECW,
Oh, of course.
ECW. Both Fonzie and Van Damme have to roll Lynn back into the ring, but still only a 2.
Yeah.
Well, I've actually got a comment from another RVD and Jerry Lynn match, but I think
Okay.
I'll get us to review that at some point,
Oh,
so I'll
okay.
save it for then. RVD slams Lynn near the corner and places a chair on him, but the split-legged moonsault is blocked with knees.
Yes.
They jostle for the chair until Lynn gets a sunset flip.
Mm-hmm.
Van Damme cracks him with the chair at 2 to escape.
Oh.
Very clever. It's clever, though.
I mean, it is very clever.
And it was pretty as soft as you're going to get, like that kind of chair shot.
This next little bit kind of took it away for me, I'll be honest.
Okay. So they exchange pin attempts until Lynn hits a bridging suplex, which again gets a 2.
Yeah.
What will it take?
Who knows?
Is that the bit you didn't like?
It was the roll-ups. I think that was...
1, 2,
Yeah,
1, 2.
that doesn't... That
I quite
comes
like
into
that.
the too choreographed bit for me.
Oh, okay.
And I get it, because that's the whole point of what you're doing. You're trying to get the pin. But after a couple, I'm a bit like...
But if we're talking about too choreographed, that move that I mentioned that was
Oh,
my
I
favourite,
know,
that's
but
so
it's-
choreographed.
Oh, I don't know.
But it's great. In the corner now, and Lynn hits a tornado DDT on a table, but it doesn't break, which has to feel worse.
Yeah, oh, you'd assume,
Yeah.
wouldn't you?
Both men look dead until Van Damme squeezes Lynn's leg to check in on him,
Yes,
make sure he's
I like
okay.
that. I do.
2 count for Lynn in the ring. Lovely exchange sequence that results in RVD hitting a unique kick to avoid a Northern Lights. So what he did was, Lynn grabbed him by the waist, ready to take him over for the Northern Lights, and Van Damme used his back leg to kick Lynn in the head to stop him from going over. He then lands a clothesline.
Yeah.
Corkscrew leg drop by Van Damme gets a near fall.
Got another
Go on.
comment on this fucking whistle again.
Go
I
on.
could just see it. Someone take that whistle off that man before I turn this shit off.
Body slam and rolling thunder get the same.
Oh, I love that.
I know you do. Lynn sits atop the turnbuckles. Wait, what? Lynn sits atop the buckles off a whip, looks for a tornado DDT, but it's blocked. RVD has the Northern Lights blocked. Spike DDT from Lynn gets 2! Exclamation mark I put there.
Yeah.
The bell sounds.
I got well confused. Well confused.
Ref goes to hand the belt to Lynn, but Lynn wants 5 more minutes. John Finnegan still wants to award the title to Lynn, and then we get a 5 more minutes chant. Both sides agree and the bell sounds again. So what happened here was they'd hit the 20-minute time limit.
Right, yeah, so eventually I understood this because they did explain it on commentary, but I obviously heard the bell and I was like, well, no one's been DQ'd because that doesn't happen. What is going on?
So what I understand, and I think a lot of promotions used to do this for their television titles, they'd put a time limit on it.
Right.
So if you think the TV title...
But they don't tell you there's a time limit.
I think it's because they expected people to know.
Oh,
and people were so engrossed in the match. And also, you'll notice Joey Styles didn't say, oh, we're approaching the time limit.
Yeah.
Oh, we're approaching the time limit.
I see.
So we weren't geared for that to be even a possibility.
No.
John Finnegan then's taken it upon himself to think, well, I think Jerry Lynn got the better of this match. I'm going to award the title to him.
Oh, I'd take that shit home. I'd be like, cool, I'm done. See you later.
Jerry Lynn obviously wants to win it legitimately because he's a goody two-shoes. Van Dam agrees to it, and they go to carry on. So the bell rings again. This match is back underway.
RVD at this point has a little bit of the red, blood on him.
Bit of the red blood on him.
But I was going to think of something else and I couldn't think of what to say. But... that's real, right? Because I would expect it from this match.
Yeah, I think
There'd be no benefit to blading either in this because it would.
Van Dam wasn't much of a blader, to be fair.
It doesn't add anything either because you've got so much going on already.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it was that was hard way they'd call that, but so unintentional blood.
Oh.
I have seen RVD blade, but it's not a very often thing, especially in comparison with some of the other guys and girls that they've got on the show. Scary pile driver by Lynn.
Oh, no, thank you.
And RVD sells like his life depends on it.
Yeah.
Near fall. RVD gets a boot up off a corner whip. Fonzie throws a chair to Lynn, who swings it at Van Dam, but the Van Daminator still connects.
Love that.
Perfect 5-star frog splash sees Van Dam rotate 90 degrees in the air, and we get the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable match this is.
Yeah.
Loved it then, love it now, and a handshake finishes this one off between the two competitors.
I know it's silly, but I do like it when they do a handshake at the end.
I have to know, Holly, what did you think of the match?
Right, this one was up against it because of that fucking whistle.
Yep.
I was so close to just losing my shit with it. You'll be pleased to hear, one of the best matches I think I've ever seen.
Yay!
I gave it a very high rating. I think I've overrated. 4 out of 5. It's the second highest rating I've ever given to a match.
And the other one was Jeff Hardy's main event winner.
No, I think the other one was the Triple H leg thing. When he does his legs. Yeah. I think it's that one.
I think you also gave.
Maybe I gave 4 to Jeff as well.
Or 4.5.
I give him anything he likes.
Yeah, I bet you would.
And I've put it would have been a 4.5 if there was no whistle, and it really would. Like the handshake at the end. However, I do have a little note that says, who pays the cameraman to continuously go in and out? Because at the end of the match, there's fuck off. Just
zooming, that was indicated there.
Just stop it. But I really fucking enjoyed that.
Okay, my scoring.
Yeah.
I have to give it a 5.
Do you?
For me, yeah.
So this is 100% for you?
This is as good as one of my favourite matches of all time.
Okay.
It's nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
There are things in it that aren't perfect, don't get me wrong, but what match doesn't have that? I've not yet seen a perfect match, but to my criteria, what I wanted to see, this is 5 stars.
Okay.
What it was actually scored at, I think, is a fucking disgrace.
Oh, God.
3.5.
Okay.
No. It's not 3.5.
I mean, I would have it at least. Obviously, I've put it as a 4. So.
I think for me, again, people obviously feel free to disagree.
Yeah.
I would have questions for anyone that didn't score it 4.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to give it 5.
No.
But
I don't know what matches I would ever give a 5 to.
I don't think there are going to be many for me either. but just because of everything
Yeah.
in it. I think if I maybe
was
had seen it for the first
spectacular.
time, I'd probably go 4.75.
Okay.
But it's touching the
Okay.
5. So for that reason, I'll just give it a 5 because
Yeah.
why not? If
Oh,
one of my
yeah.
favourite matches, when someone says to me, "What's your favourite match?" This is one of the first ones I think of.
Okay.
So why wouldn't I score it 5?
Absolutely.
If I don't know what a better match is,
Yeah.
therefore it's 5. And I'm not doing 6 and all this
No,
nonsense.
no.
It's 5.
Yeah.
So yeah, 3.5 I
Oh.
think's shameful, to be honest. As a
I mean, I'm going to take it because it's closer to me.
yeah, of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. But I love
did
that
enjoy
match.
it. If that whistle, though, honestly, I know it's pathetic.
Without
but
the whistle, what would
without
you
the
give
whistle, it would have been a 4.5.
it? Okay, yeah.
I just can't.
I don't begrudge that.
Because it took my focus off of what was actually happening, and for me, we know I struggle to keep focus. So.
We then get a Sabu and Taz video.
Ah, yeah.
Paul Heyman tells us that they were hardcore before hardcore was cool. This is the most intense rivalry in ECW. And there's a point there. I mean, there's been a lot of intense rivalries in ECW.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Raven Sandman, pretty intense. I'm thinking Tommy Dreamer Raven, so Raven's a common theme actually.
Not
would
Fat
be
Raven.
the-
Just
no,
Raven.
not Fat Raven, legitimate svelte Raven. I believe they're the ones that come to my mind first and foremost. But yeah, Taz and Sabu is up
Yeah.
there, and it's mentioned a few times that they did headline the first ever ECW pay-per-view
Okay.
after some really good build-up there, where it showed them not really touching until the actual event itself, so the crowd were rabid to see them
Yeah.
actually have their match. Then go back to Joey Styles in the booth. Styles informs us that adult film star Jasmine St. Clair had planned to make an impact at the pay-per-view. I'll be honest, I didn't do research on Jasmine.
No,
Because
I'd recommend not doing that. I'll be
Did
honest. No, but
Okay.
I was going to think, especially for your sake of your marriage,
Oh, yes.
maybe don't do that.
Yeah, that's fair enough. What are you doing? Research! For
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
Knock next time.
Yeah, I was. Jasmine is shown in the ring saying she is the queen of wrestling when Francine comes out. This poor cow looks like a meth head.
Oh,
And
okay.
after a shove, hits a piss-poor stunner on the porn star before low-blowing the random bloke she stood with. Jasmine sells it well, in fairness, surprisingly. As the action returns to the ring, we now see Bill Apter taking photos at ringside. So Bill Apter, I don't know if it was Pro Wrestling Illustrated. He was very well known in the journalistic world of professional wrestling. He's been doing it for God knows how long, probably like 70s we're talking about. And I've actually got a personal story involving Bill Apter.
Oh, okay, right. Buckle up.
When I was debating what I wanted to do as a line of work, I think I've probably told you before, I was very interested in sports journalism. It was something that intrigued me, quite enjoyed writing about something that I was, passionate about, so it made sense that, sports would be my topic of choice. I thought, well, why not reach out to some places that, do pro wrestling stories?
Yeah.
And I sent an email to Mr. Apter for one of his websites and said, gave my background, said, hi, my name is this, I'm this years old, interested in doing this, have you got any basically free gigs that I could just do, submit some stuff and get it up there? And for ages, I basically forgot I did that.
Okay.
And then a few months later, I was looking through my emails and he'd responded and said, yeah, send us some stuff and we'll see if we can get some free bits up there. And if it's good, later down the line, we can look to do maybe something involving, paid article writing. And I thought, oh, you dumbass, completely forgotten I'd moved on to other bits and pieces after that. Not saying that it ever would have, manifested into
That's a
anything more than what it was.
shame.
But yes, and to be fair to Bill, very polite, reached back out to me, responded. Obviously, didn't have to.
No.
Who am I?
Yeah.
Took his time, came back. So, yeah, little shout out to Bill Apter there. Thank you very much for that email. Apologies that I didn't come back to you. It wasn't meant in a rude way.
Gosh, how different things could be, eh?
Probably still be doing this, mate. Oh, I might not have met you, though.
No, exactly.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, well, all works out for the best, then,
Doesn't
eh?
it?
This next match is a good example of what I see on ECW and go, I don't want to see this.
It keeps in line with my my little W at the minute.
Very much so.
Yeah.
Mustafa versus New Jack.
Yes.
So I've got a little bit of background information
Ooh.
for you.
Good.
I'm reaching for the phone, but that's not this particular moment.
Oh.
Just a little bit of information about who Mustafa and New Jack are.
Okay.
So Mustafa and New Jack were, I would say, this is going to sound harsh, but limited pro wrestlers. They're very much known for punch, kick, brawl, hardcore, this type of...
So not like wrestling, more just throw some shapes type thing.
Throw some shapes is an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah.
And yes.
Okay.
I think really when we're talking about New Jack specifically, New Jack had a little bit more upside because he was quite good at a lot of the character work. I don't feel like Mustafa was.
Okay.
I assume you've heard of Jim Cornette.
Yes.
So Jim Cornette done promotional work, done company ownership. He was a writer for WWE for a while, a manager. We'll see him in the WrestleMania journey and other shows as well. Very forthright in his opinions on people. Like, for example, he cannot fucking stand the Young Bucks. Just as an example,
okay.
That's not wrestling to him. That's just kids copying something they've seen on TV, think it's good, and do it over and over again, so that nothing has any meaning behind it. Very old school mentality.
Yeah.
Jim Cornette, like New Jack.
Yeah.
And I find that quite weird because Jim Cornette is of the old school. So he used to manage a tag team back in the day, and they're very traditional in the way in which they did everything. Whereas New Jack doesn't really have anything traditional, and I'm using air quotes for that, about his character and the way he wrestles. But for whatever reason, Jim Cornette liked using him as a heel in, I think it was Smoky Mountain Wrestling, or it might have been, because I know Jim Cornette was big behind the Smoky Mountain Wrestling scene. And so this match, basically, Mustafa and New Jack in ECW had been teaming as the Gangsters, was their nickname.
Yeah.
What they would do, and this then later became New Jack's thing permanently, and you'll probably notice it in the comments that you put down on the match, the music would be playing the entire time as he's just going through weapon after weapon.
So
after
glad you
weapon,
said that. It's like my third bullet point.
after weapon. And this is basically what the gangsters did. They came in, caused chaos, left.
Right, okay.
And New Jack basically just carried
So
this
is
forward.
that come in, fuck shit up, go home?
Basically.
Okay.
And it's different because no one else was doing that on the
true.
show. So again, it's something for
It's
a different
different,
section of the market. Is it for me? No. But I doubt it's for
But
you either. But
no,
there'll be
not me
people out
personally,
there.
But yeah, exactly.
There'll be people out there that appreciated it. I've just got a couple stories about New Jack, if you're interested in hearing them.
Always?
I don't suppose you've ever heard of the mass transit incident, have you?
No.
So I've got a couple of things written down here, which I'm just going to read off verbatim that I just didn't want to try and write down on my notepad. So the mass transit incident unfolded during an Extreme Championship Wrestling house show on November 23rd, 1996 at the Wonderland Ballroom in Revere, Massachusetts. In this dramatic wrestling event, what happened was it was supposed to be the Gangsters against, I want to say it was the Dudleys or something of that nature, and one of the participants couldn't make it to the arena. It might have even been Balls Mahoney, actually. One of them couldn't get to the arena, so they had to try and book up another solution to get a tag team match out there.
Okay.
One of the guys in the crowd said, I'm a professional wrestler. I'll get involved in this, try and come up with some deal, and I'll get, appear on the show. Paul Heyman was like, yeah, okay, so asked a few questions about it. The guy was like, yeah, happy to do it. He was a big, massive guy, and his character name was Mass Transit. What happened during the match when they were talking about what was going to, it was going to be chaos because it had New Jack involved in it. Mass Transit said to New Jack, would you mind being, I've got to get colour, would you mind being the one to cut me? Because he said it's not something that, I'm used to doing.
Oh, like blading him?
Yeah,
okay,
blade me.
yeah.
New Jack was like, fine. But New Jack is also a scary man.
Yeah.
In the match, New Jack does blade him, as requested, and severs 2 arteries.
Fuck.
And the guy bleeds and bleeds and bleeds. The match is absolute carnage. Eventually they lose. He's still in the ring. He's lying down. Medical teams swarm the ring, help him out, take him away. Turns out he lied a little bit. Whilst he had tried to do some pro wrestling stuff, he was still very new into the training because he was 17 years old. He lied about his age. He lied about his training. So he basically got into the ring, got cut severely by New Jack. He had medical issues as a result of it. So I'll just read the rest of this article here for you. So in this dramatic wrestling event, 17-year-old Eric Kulas, who aspired to be a professional wrestler, adopted the ring name Mass Transit. He was huge. So I could see looking at him why you wouldn't think he was 17. The match took a dark turn. Koulas faced off against the Gangsters in a tag team match. I believe Devon Dudley was his partner for it.
Okay.
The most severe injury occurred when Klaus was bladed too deeply by New Jack. This unfortunate incident resulted in the severing of 2 of Koulas's arteries, as I mentioned. What makes this story even more controversial is that Koulas had lied to ECW owner and booker Paul Heyman about his age and professional wrestling training. Due to this deception, the inaugural ECW pay-per-view event, Barely Legal, was temporarily cancelled.
Oh.
Legal action was also taken against New Jack, and ultimately the legal proceedings favoured him because of all the lies that the person told to get in that situation. What actually later happened with the guy, Eric Koulas, I believe he never really recovered from his injuries that were sustained from there, and he died at like the age of 23. Shit. Whether you could tie it in exactly to this incident, but it all seems to have stemmed from there. I mean, the guy was massive anyway, so there was going to be health issues at some point in his life, but yeah, he was done. He was like permanently damaged after that match.
Wow.
And it's infamous in wrestling lore.
Wow.
So that's one New Jack story I've got for you.
Gosh.
So New Jack is, like I said, to me, and I think I mentioned it in the match,
yes,
I find him scary for the wrong reasons, because I think he's legitimately dangerous. Okay. Like, he's a danger to people. And if you get on his bad side, you might not even know you're on his bad side. He's going to try and fuck you up, like legitimately try and fuck you up. Not saying he always did that, and he actually died not too long ago, to be fair.
Oh, okay.
And like I said, to me that's scary, unpredictable. I wouldn't want to have a match. Put it this way, I would never want to have a match with him if I was a pro wrestler. No, not a chance, because I don't trust him.
I like that you put if you're a pro wrestler in there as well.
Well, yeah, well, you know what I mean.
You're not going to put your hand up and go, me please.
Well, maybe now, because he's not with us, so I don't think it'd be much of a match. So after ECW kind of folded, there was a promotion that kind of picked up the mantle of being the hardcore company, so XPW. And XPW was... It basically capitalised on the hardcore aspect of what ECW did. As I mentioned to you earlier, ECW did kind of cater for everyone. So they had the hardcore stuff, but they also had X, Y, and Z. The
technical stuff as well.
To give it a well-rounded overall presentation. Yep. XPW just went, it's the hardcore stuff that works, so we're just going to focus just on this bit.
God, okay.
So they hired a lot of the ECW workers that didn't go to WWE and WCW. You look at New Jack, there's no wonder why he didn't go to WWE. There's no way they'd have that kind of maverick in their locker room. It just doesn't work. So this story revolves around New Jack in XPW. I believe it was XPW anyway. I'll correct myself if I'm wrong as I'm reading this.
Well, someone will.
Well, yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's XPW. So as his theme song suggested, New Jack came across as a natural-born killer and wasn't someone to cross in wrestling. If you did, there'd be consequences. At ECW's Living Dangerously pay-per-view 2000... the first incident I'm referring to was actually on ECW. Completely forgot that. So yeah, Living Dangerously pay-per-view 2000. So the year after this one, New Jack wrestled Vic Grimes to a brutal no contest. At one point in the match, they were supposed to both fall from a huge 20-foot scaffolding rig onto tables below. Yeah. There was some miscommunication between the two, with New Jack falling and grabbing at Grimes to make him follow. Grimes, who was a giant of a man weighing over 300 pounds, landed directly on New Jack's head. Brain fluid immediately leaked out of Jack's nose after falling. He suffered a skull fracture and has been blind in one eye ever since. Shit. Let's fast forward. There was major heat directed at Grimes afterwards from Jack, so as I understand it, what had happened was they were both supposed to go off. Mm-hmm. Grimes second doubted himself, or second guessed himself. Yeah. So New Jack went, and New Jack went, well, I can't go by myself, so I'm grabbing Vic to come with me. God. And had Vic Grimes just gone at the right time, there's a very strong likelihood that this injury wouldn't have happened. Yeah. So New Jack was like, well, you basically, even though it was him that grabbed him to pull him off, you caused me to do that. So he then obviously held a grudge. As I said, that's not the man you want holding a grudge against you. Okay? So, as I said, there was major heat directed at Grimes afterwards from Jack, with the two somehow getting booked in the same match again in a scaffold match for XPW in 2002. Jesus. Looking for revenge, Jack for real tasered Grimes high above the ring and then sent him flying 40 foot off the scaffolding platform they were on through a load of tables, and Vic Grimes barely hits any of the tables in the ring. So I'm talking about like 3-4 tables stacked up high in the ring, all over the ring, and they're fighting on a platform above it. Oh. he throws him off the side, and like you see Vic slightly hit the ropes as he comes down.
God.
Now, after he was interviewed about it down the line, because it looks like it was just, that was close.
Yeah.
New Jack said, no, I was trying to kill him. I was trying to throw him beyond the ring. I didn't want him to land in the ring. I was trying to kill him.
Stop it.
It was attempted murder. New Jack tried to throw him so he landed outside the ring. And believe it or not, the only injury I think Vic Grimes got from that was I think he broke his ankle. Jesus. Which is the least of your concerns on an attempted murder attempt. So this is why I find New Jack legitimately terrifying.
Okay, yeah, if I'd have read those or heard them before this match... Yeah, no, that's... Oh, okay, yeah, that's really put me off.
So now we'll go to the Mustafa versus New Jack match.
Oh, Lordy.
All I know whenever I see New Jack is that it's going to be ugly.
Okay.
New Jack arrives to the ring with a wheelie bin full of plunder and weaponry and throws the entire bastard into the ring. He immediately obliterates a crutch over Mustafa's back. Sensational purple and grey camo gear on New Jack. I'll give him some credit on that
fair.
one. Quite liked it. Now he rhythmically types on a keyboard before smashing that over Mustafa. Keys fly everywhere.
To be fair, at this point I did find that this goes to... The comparison is like the kiss cam thing with...
Okay.
It's like...
what a comparison.
It's so ridiculous that this made me chuckle. Like, every item you're getting out, you're doing something with it first, and then that I found funny.
I'll be honest, I quite enjoyed that part of it as well. It's just there's just no substance with it. It's all...
it's just like dum 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 bang.
Exactly.
Dum 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 bang.
A snapmare by New Jack, so that is a wrestling move, is surprising, which I've put, but it sets up a golf club shot to a street sign covered on Mustafa's testicles.
Of course.
Mustafa is now begging off, which sees New Jack simulate stroking one off before kicking him.
Yeah, wank motion.
Wank motion.
Wank motion, low blow is what I've got.
Air dicking.
Yes.
Mustafa actually gets some offence in with a headbutt to the balls and uses a toy lawnmower to crown New Jack. Now I've got to ask, where were you getting this stuff from, mate?
It's very amusing.
Like, I get some of this stuff could be lying around a building. Where's the toy lawnmower?
I honestly don't know. And at this point is when I reference, why is the music still going? But now you've said that, I understand.
I like the idea as well of like Mustafa and New Jack going, we need some weapons for our match, where should we go? Toys R Us, let's go, right? And then they're just picking up things and like pretending to hit each other with it, and the staff are going, well, I'm not confronting them about this. Let's let this one play out and see what they walk out with. Mustafa actually At this point, Holly must be confused by why music is still playing, but this is part of New Jack's shtick.
Yeah.
Mustafa breaks a metal canister over New Jack's head before flexing. Wheelie bin is tossed at New Jack. Baking tray to the head and a beatdown in the corner.
Yes.
Messy clothesline by Mustafa, who again eats keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
New Jack now tunes an acoustic guitar that sails into the crowd when he cracks Mustafa with it. It kind of exploded, but not right.
Properly. Like, it was... They must not hit it in the right... Yeah, so the whole bass, I guess, of the guitar flew off, and then all of a sudden it gets thrown back in again.
So he's just holding the neck. He then asks the crowd to throw it back in, which they oblige.
Yes.
New Jack then gets a proper connection this time, and we see it explode with the talcum powder, which is what they used to put in the guitar to make it look more spectacular.
Yeah.
New Jack is bleeding from the earlier blade job. I don't know if you saw it when he was against the ropes and getting hit with stuff. He kept doing that to his head.
No, I didn't see that. I've made a note that he's bleeding, and I've put in big letters, blade.
Because if you see his head, it's just scar tissue. It's awful. It's like disgusting.
No,
sights.
that makes my skin go funny.
Yeah, like you've seen Dusty Rhodes have that and stuff like that. It's just all there, and you could see, because I'm basically if New Jack's having a match, he's bleeding. He will bleed at some point. And I was like, oh, he's not bleeding yet. And he's been hit with a few things. And that's when I was watching him on the ropes, literally just jabbing at his own head. And I realised he must have been trying to catch himself with something.
Oh, no thanks.
It's, not a particularly pleasant sight. And he gets punched in his dick for his troubles.
Dick punch.
On the outside, the two men brawl into the crowd, which is just standard fare for your ECW shows. What are you about to say?
Right. This bit now, when they go into the crowd, I don't know, and I get that it's the vibe, it's the company, it's all of this. I just can't deal with this camera work, or lack of camera work at one point or another. It's very confusing.
I don't think I mentioned it in this one, but I definitely mention it in the main event.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't know. because I didn't know the background of like, oh, it's just saving money, blah blah blah. But honestly, I feel like I could have filmed it better on my phone.
Well, definitely now, but
Well, yes,
what would your
maybe
phone
not
have looked
back
like in
then.
'99?
My Nokia like
The cameraless phone
3210, yeah.
played Snake though like a treat.
Oh, for sure.
We see new. Oh no, we don't. Fans throw it back in. Jack has a into the wall. New Jack goes. Mustafa drops an elbow and unloads with right hand, but a chair shot from Jack lands. And I was looking at the arena, like the area of the arena they're at, and I had my suspicions as to what was going to happen.
Oh, see, I didn't have a clue at all.
Well, you wouldn't have seen either of these men before, would you?
Never. I was just more concerned that my phone kept correcting Mustafa to mustard.
So we've got Saturday and Marengo, and now we've got Mustard.
Yes,
Love that.
so annoying.
Jack has set a table up and then tapes Mustafa to it.
That's stupid. Honestly, the most stupid thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, just rock off to the side.
So dumb.
Even if you couldn't break the tape, just rock off to the side.
It's electrical tape.
So?
People use that to tie on their fucking shin pads.
You can cut electricity with a knife, as we learned from Gorilla Monsoon, so maybe it's more powerful than we gave it credit.
It's a fair point, actually. I'll get back in my box.
Jack has a table set up, straps him to it. He walks into the stands where we see kids that are far too young to be in attendance. He stands on the balcony and leaps, crashing through Mustafa and the table.
That was awful.
Horrendous.
Horrible. And I think I watched it a couple of times and I was just like, I don't know what part of his body... Because it looks like he just lands with his head. Like, it's not a body to... It didn't look... body to body, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, he just came down like that and just landed sternum first there. Awful landing.
I genuinely thought we're going to see someone actually incapable of walking after this.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't surprise me, to be fair, the way they were pushing it. And at XPW, I can't believe someone didn't die. Ugly way to go through a table. Hell of a sight, though. I'll give them credit. It's a spectacular sight, but not necessarily for the right reasons. After that goes, I think you just hear Styles scream, "Oh my God," or "Oh my God," which is his thing. And he's right. New Jack looked at 20 foot off the floor when he jumped to me. And he came down at a pace.
Hard, yeah.
ECW security helped carry both men and put them in the ring. Jesus.
Yeah.
New Jack drapes his arm over Mustafa, and that's all she wrote in this one.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. There's no bell after it, though.
No, well, I don't understand why security guards are getting involved in the first place. And just have Falls Count anyway. If you know
that's true, actually. Yeah, just pin after you go through the table. Don't move.
And just call it Falls Count anyway. Be done with it.
That's a fair point, actually.
They just carried them to the ring for the cover. I guess they needed to be in the ring for the bit that followed. I've just remembered.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
true.
What, Holly, would you score this? I'm going to say match.
I put 1.25. I put both of them look absolutely fucked. That was a little bit too chaotic for my my liking and my capabilities of following. I don't want to see that leap 10 more times. They keep showing it. I don't want to see it again. Like, I've had enough. It made me feel uncomfortable. I mean, yeah, give points for I don't know, I want to say bravery, but I don't know if it's stupidity of the jump off the ledge. A little bit
of column A, a little bit of column B.
Like, great. That's lovely, but it made me feel nervous.
I knew this would be the one that would test you.
Yeah, it definitely made me feel nervous, and that is why I scored it what I did.
Well, you were more generous than Dave, 0.25.
Oh, okay, gosh.
I would say half a star, and that's purely for that dive, just because that deserves... Not to say that, you have to risk your life to do something like this, but I couldn't put 0.25... having seen that,
exactly.
Knowing that both men walked away.
Exactly.
Yeah, if that had paralysed someone, I'm not giving it credit for that. But I'll give them half a star.
Okay.
I'd put it round Balls Mahoney, Steve Corino.
Yeah.
Round the same target for me.
It still fits very nicely with my W.
It does.
Method.
We'll see if this continues. I expect it won't, but maybe not for the next one. The Dudley boys appear for a beatdown. The tie-dyed Dudley start beating on New Jack.
Seems a little unnecessary as he can barely fucking walk, but never mind.
Even Sign Guy Dudley and Joel Gertner get slaps in.
Yeah.
So Joel Gertner's who I was talking about earlier with the bow tie. He would just have very dirty poems. And the crowd just eventually loved the filth that would come out of his mouth. It's disgusting. All of it's nonsense, because he's talking about how... I won't go into the details of it. I may have written down some of it later.
Okay.
I don't know if I have, but it seems like something I would very much do, if I'm being honest. And he gets in, the slap, and then does the little shaking of the hands like a baby having a tantrum. And then we get Joel Gertner, then delivers one of his patented dirty promos.
Okay.
Oh, I did put a line down. All the bitches in Asbury can sit on the pelvis and feel like the shit that killed Elvis.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that.
Decent.
Okay.
But more importantly, you fucking what?
Yeah, honestly.
You want to feel like a shit. But why was the shit on the pelvis? Let's not worry about it. Sign Guy Dudley has basically, his whole gimmick was...
just holding signs.
Holding signs that say different things.
Yeah.
One of them said, fat rats love Devon. Do you know what a rat is in wrestling parlance?
Oh no, see, I only know as get your rat out, like...
You're not a million miles off.
Okay.
So a rat, or a ring rat, to give it the full term in
wrestling.
wrestling.
Like a hoe? Like
basically,
a buckle bunny that is for cowboys is a... Oh, okay.
So they go to the wrestling matches and all they want to do is fuck a wrestler.
Oh, okay.
So the fat rats apparently like Devon.
Fair.
Chubby chaser, fair enough. Market for everything.
Why not?
Didn't say if he liked them, to be fair.
I just want to fuck a wrestler.
Yeah, basically, that's the gist of it. Yes, they're called ring rats.
Oh. Duly noted.
Yeah. I just put, Holly, do you know what that is in this context? But I've just explained it. Bubba now has the mic and says no tag team has the guts to take on the 5-time ECW Tag Team Champions. The motherfucking Dudley Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Not bleeped.
No.
Styles. Okay, that's quite enough. And I agree.
Yeah.
Dudley's lay down an open challenge to any two guys in the back, and we see Little Spike and Nova.
Yeah.
So I've got here Dudley Boys versus Spike and Nova.
Yes.
Not quite what we end up seeing, if we're being honest.
No, it's not actually, is it?
An immediate brawl breaks out between the four men, which the Dudleys get the better of. They would be. They're the bigger individuals, and I believe that Nova was on the dark match before the pay-per-view started, so he'd already had a match.
Mm-hmm.
Metal sign to Little Spike, and wooden board to the skull of Nova. This could be short and ugly, and I'm not talking about Spike.
Yeah, I expected this to be over very quickly.
Bubba Ray military presses Spike, looks around, and tosses him 12 fucking feet into the fans.
Very good.
Who then crowd surfed Little Spike round.
I loved that.
This was a trope that they did with Spike Dudley.
Oh, was it? Okay.
The first person I believe to do it, and I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it was Bam Bam Bigelow.
Really?
Bam Bam Bigelow did some ECW work, had quite a good series. He had matches with Rob Van Dam, had matches with Taz, including one match that put Taz and Bam Bam through the ring. Like they went through the ring, but it was meant to.
Okay.
Bam Bam picked up Spike and yeeted him into the crowd, and I remember this was covered on the ECW documentary, and they said any other wrestling show, people go, oh shit, move out of the way. Not ECW.
Yeah.
They caught him, because they didn't know that he was going to do that.
Yeah.
And they crowd surf him around, so that became a thing that they did.
It just made me smile. I was like, that's absolutely brilliant.
Yep. I didn't think you'd like that.
No, I did actually. I think because the rest of it, or what had just happened, was to me like too chaotic.
Yep.
This I thought was actually just amusing.
In the ring, a Nova gets a "what's up" before it was even a thing.
Of course.
Top rope sit out powerbomb from Bubba to Nova. 3D connects with Nova, but no cover. Why? That's it. That's the match ender.
And at this point, I'm like, we saw Spike get carried off, but where the fuck is he? I was like, is he going to come back at any point?
The officials then try to help Nova, including Bob Ortiz, who's the ring announcer, who's trying to stop them hurting his friend.
Guy.
And then he gets a 3D for his troubles as well.
I know.
For trying to defend his friend, the ECW ring announcer Ortiz gets a 3D.
Mm-hmm.
I put, was this a match? Bubba has the mic and says there is nobody left to challenge them. Well, you didn't technically beat them.
Little does he know.
Little does he know. Sign guy, his sign said, I hate signs, except mines. Because it rhymes.
Mm-mm.
I did laugh at that, I'll be honest. Dudley's now challenge the fans.
Oh, this boy got bored at this point, I'm sorry.
Bubba Ray would honestly incite damn near riots with the fans sometimes.
Really?
Like he would spot a girl in the crowd with her mum.
Yeah.
I assume she was of age. And he would say, the only thing you learn from your mum is how to suck dick. And they're obviously both in the crowd, and the crowd are getting more and more
Oh, so
pent
he'd
up
like
with frustration.
go fishing, effectively.
Very much so.
Mm-hmm.
And for him, it was like shooting fish in a barrel because I never saw him not get a reaction.
Oh, wow. Yeah, at this point, I've put notes down that just say, I don't care who comes out. Someone just fucking do something.
Now we see Judge Jeff Jones wheel out a gurney.
Mm.
And here we see Sid.
Brilliant.
Do you know who Sid is?
I did some research on him later
Of course
on.
you did. And he comes out saying, "Nobody fucking man enough, huh?" Chewing gum.
Of course.
Bubba says, "What are you thinking, you big, dumb, blonde..." Then he uses an F word, which isn't fuck. It's a derogatory term for those in the gay community. And that,
I see.
as well, was not bleeped, and I could not believe that one got through the filters.
I didn't pick that up.
At the time, it was one of those things like gay bashing was just not...
God.
I wouldn't say accepted, but it was so much more commonplace back then. It was like a sign of, overly macho kind of individuals, and ECW was very much catered towards that demographic. So Bubba was obviously just leaning into it. I don't think these were his real feelings, but I remember hearing that and going, one, that's brave to say that to Sid, because he is 6'9".
It'll fuck you up.
Sid Yulee, yeah. And I couldn't believe that was let through on the network.
But I suppose, if you're putting it through a generator, you're not looking for that word, are you?
I will say, though, if someone at a later date watches this show and it's now been bleeped, we can take credit. You're welcome, society. And then, but surprised the network didn't bleep that. Sid starts laughing like a lunatic, genuinely scary, before blowing a bubble with his gun.
So odd.
Devon accidentally walks right into Sid and then offers his hand because he's backing off. He looks scared.
Yeah.
But Sid kicks him, looks for the powerbomb, but Bubba attacks him from behind.
Of course.
The crowd are chanting Sid as he gets beaten down. And then Bubba comes out with a microphone again and says, "For a big country boy, you sure have a pretty mouth." Okay.
So weird.
Styles, I didn't need to hear that.
So weird.
I put nobody did, Joey.
No.
Nobody. Sid ducks a double clothesline and hits stereo single-arm clotheslines to both Dudleys. Powerbomb for Devon, who is then put on a gurney.
Yeah.
Then we then see Spike.
Oh, yeah. This is where he comes back.
Yeah. That's a shame. Spike tries to stand on Bubba's shoulders, who's against the ropes, but slips, so just clotheslines Devon off the gurney instead. I'm guessing he was supposed to jump off Bubba's shoulders and land on it. Which would have been a cool moment, but fair enough, he didn't just try and flog a dead horse.
Yeah.
Leg drop to Bubba from the top rope to the elevated ramp. Sid drops the gurney on Devon, which actually looked like it would suck.
It does. I thought it was quite amusing.
Spike looks for an acid drop, but Bubba blocks it. Can't block the dick kick, though. However, and the acid drop hits on the second attempt, and a 1, 2, 3. Wait, was that a match?
Apparently so.
So the match I wrote down isn't the match that finished?
No.
So Spike goes to celebrate with Sid, and that's his mistake.
It's very confusing.
He stands with his arm around him, waving at the fans, and I've got, uh-oh.
Oh, of course.
Sid laughs and powerbombs him, but that isn't all. Second powerbomb from the ramp to the floor, through a table. ECW, ECW, ECW.
Yes.
Sid then turns it into Sid, Sid,
Yes.
Sid chants. What was the research you did on Mr. Vicious then?
Okay. So, it was after I watched this, I scored it and then I paused and I was like, I have to know about this guy because surely he's somebody.
Oh, yeah.
And then I got to the story about him and Arn Anderson.
Yo, that story. I was
My
going to save that for a WCW show.
God.
Do you want to go into that now?
Sure.
Go. You've got the...
So, according to my research, all off the Tinternet.
Was it also in the UK this happened?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
Sorry, carry on.
So in the early 90s, there was a tour of the UK where Sid and Arn were arguing. They were in Blackburn, just to put it out there. I've got family up there, so I feel like I can get away with
And yet
saying
unsurprising.
anything. But yeah, it's a little rough.
Any fans up there from Blackburn, don't get upset.
I've been out in Blackburn many a time. Doesn't surprise me.
Mm.
Arn apparently threatened Sid with a broken bottle.
He did?
And they got sent to their rooms like naughty children. This is where it fucking is crazy. Later, Sid then goes to Arn's room with a chair leg
He does.
to attack him.
Yep.
Arn, of course, retaliates
In reality, that's
with
a reality.
a pair of scissors. scissors.
Yes, he does.
Sid ended up with 4 stab wounds.
Yep.
Arn ended up with 20 and lost around 1.5 pints of blood.
So the version of the story I heard is very similar to that. Everything I agree with. I'm not saying that that's wrong.
Oh, I just got
the
off
only thing
internet,
I
so.
thought happened was I think Sid got the scissors off him and stabbed him in the leg.
I mean,
I didn't hear about... Maybe I'm wrong, but I didn't hear
know.
about the multiple stabbings. But that
Yeah,
incident very much happened.
supposedly, neither pressed charges, and effectively the UK police said, we're not doing anything, just leave. Like, go back to, like, get out of the country.
Yeah, that's when they worked in WCW.
And it said that Sid ended up getting fired for the incident.
He did.
And then I've put a little note in here saying, based on timelines and stuff, I would assume we see him at some point in a WrestleMania soon.
Mm-hmm.
We do?
Yep.
Okay. But I'll be honest, that story aside, I'm quite interested.
We see him headline a WrestleMania, in fact.
Oh, okay.
And it is not the one we're currently viewing,
Yeah.
and it's not the one after that. But it's the one after that.
But,
Yeah, because this was early 90s WCW this happened, wasn't it?
all the research that I do, that story so far has been the most out there for me.
Oh, and I'm pretty sure Jamie has got a clip out of that, so I think you've
Jeez.
done well. But yeah, that is a true story. I don't know about, like I said, the multiple
Yeah, of
stabbings,
course.
but that is, yeah, I've heard the
I
same.
just took it off the internet.
But that's great. Was it a Wikipedia job or was it a...
Of course it was.
Brilliant. To be fair, I mean, there are facts
Most
there.
of my research comes from Wikipedia.
Not necessarily a bad thing, because it's
Yeah.
kind of like curated by the community, isn't it?
Mm.
So any errors and stuff get
Yeah.
flagged and it gets changed. From that match... Oh, no, sorry, we haven't scored it. What did you score that match?
0.5.
1 star.
Okay.
I am in between you guys, 0.75, because
Yeah.
I don't... It's so stupid, but like an OCD part of me is like, it wasn't a match, because
No,
the
it wasn't.
match...
To me it wasn't either, but...
So, but I enjoyed what I saw in it more than the Gangsters match. I
Mhm.
enjoyed it more than the Balls Mahoney Steve Corino match. So
Okay.
again, just on that logic, I'll just edge it up slightly.
Okay.
From there, we get a video package for Lance Storm and Just Incredible versus Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer.
Just incredible. This guy.
You're not a fan of PJ Polacco?
Honestly.
Shane is looking to retire as the fans chant, "Please don't go." And Francine is seen crying in the ring. Credible and Storm interrupt, saying each of them will take over as the franchise. So Shane Douglas's whole gimmick was he's the franchise of ECW. There's a story, I don't know, I mean we could cover the show at some point, but famously when ECW was prior to Extreme Championship Wrestling,
Yeah.
it was Eastern Championship Wrestling.
Oh, okay.
They were still affiliated with the National Wrestling Alliance, and the tournament final to crown the NWA champion, which is the lineage of Ric Flair, Sting, Ricky Steamboat, etc., was going to culminate on an Eastern Championship Wrestling show.
Okay.
The two men competing for that title was Shane Douglas and Too Cold Scorpio. Too Cold Scorpio appeared in WWE as Flash Funk in the mid-90s, but I wouldn't expect you to know about him. Shane Douglas was also in the WWF in the early to mid-90s, again, which we'll cover another time. Famously, after he won the match, so he beat Too Cold Scorpio, was handed the NWA title. I think his father had fairly recently passed before that, and he was cutting an emotional promo. He said, you know, I'd like to dedicate this to my dad, to all the fans. He said, think about the greats that have held this, your Ricky Steamboats, your Ric Flairs, who he didn't like. He said, and they can all kiss my arse. Threw the title down. He said, I'm not going to be the representative of a dead organisation. He said, I'm going to be the new face of ECW. And then he basically declared himself the Eastern Championship Wrestling heavyweight champion. Only 2 people knew he was going to do that. Paul Heyman, Shane Douglas. No one else knew that was coming, including the NWA board representative that was there to see the change of the title. He was livid. All legitimate. It was a shoot. They didn't know that they were going to do that. So they were furious at that. They said, we don't recognise this as an actual thing, etc., etc. So Shane Douglas kind of manufactured this franchise persona. Like he helped it go from Eastern Championship Wrestling to Extreme Championship Wrestling. So that's a little bit of a backstory for you. We then see slow motion footage. So Francine moves Douglas and takes a Singapore cane shot to the face, and that looks
awful.
Horrible. We then see slow motion footage of all 3 getting beaten down, set to 80s B-movie music, I put.
Oh, I put cheap porno music.
Yeah, it's kind of the same vibe, isn't it? It's really quite surreal and in stark contrast to what we've seen up to this point. That whole package, just...
The whole package.
Yeah, the whole full girthy package. Now, the cast of characters make their way to the ring so the match can begin.
Yeah.
I little bit pre-warned you on this one because we were talking in work and Holly said, I've only got X amount of the show left to go. She said, I think there's only 2 matches. And I said, yeah. And you seemed in quite good spirits at that
I really
point.
was, and then you clearly reminded me to sort myself out and realise.
Yeah, I did say the tag team match does go on a bit.
Yeah, you weren't fucking wrong, were you?
Well, I rarely am, Holly, I find.
Oh my God.
Thank you for the compliment and the ego boost I so desperately needed. So Just Incredible and Lance Storm, aka the Impact Players, with Dawn Marie, Jazz, don't know if you recognise Jazz.
I did, yes.
Pre-swole
Bulk
Jazz,
up, yeah.
and Jason in a neck brace, versus Shane Douglas and Tommy Dreamer with Francine.
Yeah.
Now this is where it gets very ECW for me.
Okay.
First thing we hear, show your tits, chant by the wholesome and progressive ECW fan base.
Oh, I got some of the chants in, but not that one.
We see also that Stephen DeAngelis has replaced Ortiz, who took a 3D earlier in the evening for his troubles. Shane Douglas flips the heels off before Credible tells him to suck it. This is quite interesting, actually, because these 2 guys, I think, will have actually been in the WWF at the same time.
Oh, okay.
And for a while, both of them had periphery relationships with the Clique. So, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon Diesel, Triple H, X-Pac. That's the Clique. There were members that were like people that were fairly close to them but weren't ever considered full members of that little backstage group. One of them was Shane Douglas, who was really on the outskirts, but he got on fairly well with a few of them until an incident involving the Intercontinental title, which is a story for another time.
Okay.
And Just Incredible, who was going as the Portuguese man of war Aldo Montoya at the time, was also a peripheral member of that. So when I saw him do the suck it,
it makes sense. Okay, whereas I was just like, no, let's leave that.
Yeah, that's why I thought, that's interesting. That's a point that I'll mention to you. Discussions then take place between Dreamer and Douglas as the crowd chants "Fuck you, Canada." Canadians are so nice. Why "Fuck you, Canada"?
Yeah, I wrote that down. I was like, but I thought it was "fuck you" and then something inaudible, Canada, and I was like, you know what?
Fuck you, Canada.
I was just like, this is harsh.
Yeah, I like Canada. Like the people in Canada couldn't be nice from my experiences of being up there. But obviously Lance Storm is Canadian, so that's enough criteria to be able to shout that.
I know who he was. First time seeing him.
Everyone apart from Shane Douglas
wrestle on this, while we're watching it, but not in obviously real life. In real life, like this is fake. As in this. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'll shut up.
Wait, we're fake?
No, wow. I'll shut up. Makes no sense what I'm trying to fucking say.
Dig that hole. Yeah, because apart from Shane Douglas, you knew all of them. I assume you might have heard of Shane Douglas, but not seen him before, maybe? Okay, so...
For sure. I also thought this was a mixed tag team match, I'll be honest.
Oh, I had mixed feelings about it, that's
because
for sure.
The women, or the 2 women, are in there for
3 women.
A very long time. No, but the 2 are in the ring.
Right.
For, like, Jazz I don't think gets in.
She doesn't.
But the other 2 are in there for a long time, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how we're going to do it.
I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they didn't. Storm and Dreamer start, and we get an instant knee from Storm, who flips off the crowd. That's very un-Canadian.
I also just put in here how I loved Tommy Dreamer's gear. It's
really?
Never changed. As in, I love that it's never changed.
We did.
It's so casual. It's just trousers and t-shirt.
Do you want me to tell you what he started his ECW career in?
Oh, please do.
So it's kind of like baggy-ish trousers with suspenders.
Fuck off.
Seriously. And he looked like he was always been a chesty individual, shall we say, so it just looked weird.
That's hilarious.
He looks like a really shit stripper.
When I say I love it, I mean I don't look at it and go, that's great
you know what
gear.
You're getting.
I just think it's hilarious. It's so nonchalant. Like
it's, fat lad wrestling, basically.
It's just never allowed to take his t-shirt off.
No. Well, like I said, he started without it.
That's so funny.
But it was his choice to change it. But yeah, have a look at a picture of that if you ever get the chance.
And then I just put, I really know I'm going to struggle to write notes on this.
Fortunately, I've got you covered on that one. After that, we get a corner clothesline. Credible jumps in and whips Storm, but Dreamer avoids contact. Leg lariat by Storm accidentally hits Credible, because that's what happens in heels for heels in tag team matches.
Of course.
Clothesline by Dreamer to Storm and a neck breaker. Douglas tagged and a rolling inverse neck snap lands, which I quite liked.
Yeah.
So I think it was, I can't remember who was lying down on their front. Douglas runs at their head, rolls over them, but grabs their neck, so it makes them whiplash back.
Yeah.
Nice. Storm tags Credible, who's very tentative. They trade rights, which Douglas gets the better of, and then hits 2 rolling suplexes before a delayed vertical variant.
I do like that.
Yeah.
I do.
Justin, asshole. Chance, which again Holly was leading from her lounge, which was very surprising.
I knew you'd said that.
Douglas whips Credible, who goes over the top in the corner.
I do like that though, too.
Ducks a clothesline from Shane and hits his own. From the top rope, Credible takes flight, but is caught and hit with a flapjack. So he kind of lands, and then the momentum's picked up to hit him with that. Dreamer tagged back in. Side slam elbow drop combo on Justin, gets a near fall. Left hand by Credible, but he gets a soft spine buster, wasn't particularly well hit. And then an abdominal stretch on Credible, and Storm is press slammed by Douglas onto his own partner's knee. Pretty cool.
I thought that was quite clever.
Dangerous landing, but pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure.
Storm with a kick to the back of Shane's head from the apron, and he stumbles into a super kick from Credible. Storm, the legal man, and they... Storm, the legal man, and they stomp away on the franchise. Storm mounts and slaps before Credible chokes with the boot. Drop kick by Storm before Credible returns.
Before then, this is a chant I did notice.
Okay.
She's got herpes. I was like, Jesus Christ. I mean, it's not expected, but it's not unsurprising from the crowd.
I thought you meant it's not unsurprising that she had herpes.
No, from the crowd, but I was just like, oh, Jesus. To be a woman in ECW, no, I'm alright, Tom.
Gun to your head.
Yeah.
Who looks like they have herpes more, Dawn Marie or Francine? There is only one right answer there.
Yeah, fair. Dawn Marie.
That wasn't who was getting the chant.
Still the same Dawn Marie that later goes on to have a storyline that she's banging Tori Wilson's dad.
Bangs him to death, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yeah, same Dawn Marie. Credible returns. He points at the camera and says, "This one is for you." I don't know what beef he thinks I have with Shane Douglas, but I assure you, I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, see, I've put "this one's for you." What a really poor fist to the face.
I'm glad you said to the face.
I was angry by this point. Look.
And I'm not even halfway through my notes here yet. Storm back in, and after a brief exchange, he's dropped with a back suplex. Credible now the legal man. Chin breaker and a pair of middle fingers before a right hand. Loud, "She's a crack whore" chant.
Clock that.
Quick tags by the Impact players, and they drop Douglas with a pair of back elbows. 2 count follows. Neutral corner beatdown from Credible, but he goes balls first into the ring post of a Miss Baseball slide. I didn't realise we were doing Judgment Day 2001 moves.
Yeah, take a drink every time the ring post is involved.
Yeah, quite. Mild tag for Dreamer, because it wasn't a hot tag. I was expecting a reaction. Really wasn't. And he hits a side Russian leg sweep before Cactus clotheslining him to the floor. So Cactus clothesline.
Yeah.
Mick Foley, Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
When he was playing the Cactus Jack character, he had this thing where he'd run, clothesline the man, but he'd go over the top rope with them.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's why I call it a Cactus clothesline.
I think,
to be fair, I think a lot of people do. I don't think that's a new thing.
And it looked good the way that he did that, but obviously landed on his feet.
Yes.
Because I was like, if you trip or...
Cactus didn't land on his feet when he did it.
Okay.
It was kamikaze style.
Oh, yeah.
Storm goes over the top and hits a crossbody to Dreamer as this starts to break down. I thought, that must be near the end. How wrong was I? Mm-hmm. Douglas sends Storm into the guardrail before doing the classic dick to the ring post spot from this era.
Drink.
Yep. As Credible and Douglas brawl on the outside, Dreamer hits what looks like an Emerald Frozen on Storm for 2. Storm sent into Credible, who stupidly gets propelled into a sunset flip. Dumb. Yeah. It wasn't like that. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
Sent into him fine, but you wouldn't then go, "Oh," and then do it. No. Dumb.
No, you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't. DVD is stopped, as in not I stopped watching a DVD. The Death Valley Driver.
I love that.
It's stopped thanks to a Storm super kick.
It's the little things that make me
really is, in this one specifically. Dreamer gets a beat down in the Impact player's corner, as for the first time I hear "dirty pussy."
Oh,
dirty
didn't hear that.
Pussy. Yep. I was like, I've never heard that one before, I don't think.
God.
Chinlock on Dreamer by Credible. Jawbreaker. Actually, I should probably... The amount of times I've been talking about female genitalia, I wonder what my wife thinks we're doing. I'm just literally chanting about...
Well, I would hope...
I'd like to think she knows, we're not Well, she hasn't come
I'm
up, so
clean.
she doesn't care. Oh, I'm glad you're clean. Thanks. That wasn't kind of the point I was getting at here, to be honest
It's
with
my
you.
main concern.
Good to know. Dreamer gets a beat down in the Impact Players Corner. Chinlock on Dreamer by Credible.
Mm-hmm.
Jawbreaker counter.
Yep.
Storm in with a front face lock to prevent the tag before a 2 count. Suplex on Dreamer.
Is this the vertical suplex where he gives the finger?
Yes.
I love that. That's actually hilarious.
Yep. Credible hits a body slam and lands with a second rope forearm. Double team suplex on the ramp to Dreamer.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the ring, and Storm leaps to the top rope but gets crotched.
I liked his spring to the top rope though. Again, it's another thing I'm impressed by.
Yeah.
Add it to the list.
Yeah, absolutely. I reckon I could do to the second rope.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do
I know
to
I
the top.
could not.
Lovely Hangman's Neckbreaker by Dreamer there. Follows... I don't think they even goes for a pin there. Or if they did, I didn't write it down.
No.
Credible comes in and is hit with a second rope Ace Crusher from Dreamer, who tags Douglas back in.
Yeah.
If you ever hear me say Ace Crusher, RKO.
Yes. Oh, don't you worry.
Do you know where the Ace Crusher came from?
No.
John Laurinaitis.
Oh, really?
Johnny Ace, yeah. That was his finishing move.
Okay.
Douglas teases forming a new triple threat, which means nothing to you, but the triple threat was his partnership with Bam Bam Bigelow, and I can't remember who the third member was, but he's let's Tommy Dreamer, let's unite this.
Yeah.
And straight away they're on board.
Yes.
But obviously it was just a ploy.
We're about to listen to my favourite words in a wrestling match.
Okay, I know where we are. Douglas hits a pair of drop kicks before shouting the very articulate "fuck these fuckers" and cracking their heads together. I'm pretty sure, could be wrong, that that's what Winston Churchill said after "We will never surrender." It was "fuck these fuckers."
That's my favourite move though, the words "a double noggin knocker."
Yeah, I know
I just
you like
love
it. Dawn Marie then low blows Douglas. Chance to be a fine thing. Francine hits a pitiful snapmare.
This is fucking bullshit.
And then we get a... Cover your ears. Cat fight! Crowd love it. Storm, with a handful of arse, puts Francine on the ramp and pie faces her. Boo.
Absolutely.
Snap suplex by Storm to Dreamer, and we see Francine drag a ladder which weighs 3 times what she does.
Doesn't it? Just at least it's a proper ladder.
It is very much a workman's ladder. Dreamer drops Credible face first in the corner onto the ladder, and Douglas hits a top rope crossbody to Storm for a near fall. In a similar move to the one that disfigured Joey Mercury,
yes.
the Impact players eat the ladder. 2 counts on Credible.
How? How is that just
I know.
2? Because that's insane.
Yeah, you're picking your teeth up.
Absolutely.
From your nose, probably. Front suplex on Storm by the franchise. Dreamer then DDTs Credible onto Storm's bollocks. I actually like that.
I've put so many times, please let this end now.
Belly to belly on Credible, gets a near fall. 2 more low blows. Credible has the cane, but as he swings, Francine catches it before kicking him in the head, which was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh plunge by Douglas, and that gets a 3. This one is over, so you got your wish eventually.
Yes.
What would you score it, though?
I actually gave it 0.5. I don't know. I really struggled for me, and the only note I've put is this isn't for me. This one, just not for me. I understood it, and I understood the reasoning of why what happened, but I just couldn't get into it.
I agree. So the Dave Meltzer score on this was 1 star.
Okay. Oh, okay.
I think that there were moments in there which would have constituted a good match, but I think you could have taken 10 minutes out of it and it would have been 4 times better than it was.
100%.
I think it was the length that cost it, because
Yes,
when you
it
actually
was
look at the
long.
match, you're like, there's nothing there that I go, this is shit,
No.
but it's just going on.
There's actually
and
some
on.
really good parts in it that I really like, but it's the length is...
Shave 10 minutes off it. This might surprise you. I'm pretty sure when I looked it up, this length of match is similar to the length of match of the main event, but I'll tell you what, the main event doesn't feel like it's similar length.
No.
And I'm sure
Main event feels like it whizzes by.
I think they were both about 18 minutes around that mark.
Okay.
But yeah.
God.
Maybe I'm mistaken, but I'm sure that's what I saw.
Okay.
What did I give this? I didn't give it a score, did I?
Not yet, no.
What would I give it? I think I agree with Dave, actually. 1 star, because there was some good bits in there. And I didn't want to give it less than that, but it wasn't anything better either.
See, I'm swayed by... this would be this, but it's too long, so therefore you lose points.
Yeah, fine. No, that's fine. You're able to justify. Well, you don't even have to justify it. It's your opinion on it. We then see that Cyrus comes out. Do you recognise Cyrus?
I don't remember this.
You've seen him in person.
Have I?
Might have had a shaved head.
Have I?
Takeshita's manager from AEW. Don Callis.
Shut up. Really?
Cyrus the Virus.
Oh.
Same guy.
No.
Yeah. Causing a distraction, Cyrus allows the Impact players to beat down the victors. A bit much though when Jason chokes Francine before Cyrus headbutts her nether yayer.
Yes,
is what I called
that's
it.
very odd to me, but
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that.
And also, I'm fucking done with this.
Yeah, well, it is done now, fortunately.
But do you know what I mean? You're just like, no more, just go.
And I think you could tell the crowd weren't even overly into it because they were entertaining themselves with chants.
Yeah.
And the bits where you're supposed to go, oh, they didn't.
No.
So, and if an ECW crowd's doing that, something's gone wrong there.
Yes.
We go back to Joey Styles. Styles, who I now know is wearing suspenders and a tie with no visible top knot I can see. Bizarre. We get a few highlights of that match, I say highlights, before Styles sends us to Prazak interviewing John Finnegan, so the referee who wanted to award the title to Jerry Lynn.
Yeah.
The ref says that this isn't Holyfield Lewis, which is what I referenced earlier, and there should be a clear-cut winner with no corruption. Well, there wasn't a clear-cut winner, you just chose to award it to them.
Mm-hmm.
I would have said, it's a draw, doesn't change hands. That's me. Sorry, that's not what he's saying.
Yes,
that's me saying it to him.
Yeah.
RVD then appears in shot, and this is why we realise RVD isn't always the best promo.
I'll be honest, I wish I hadn't seen this.
Yeah.
Because I really rate... RVD's probably one up in my top 10. And
I would agree.
I saw this and I was like, oh no. It's the same for me as Jeff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, they're
Cut from
so
the same cloth.
high in my estimations, but don't...
Literally.
So high, yeah. But don't speak.
I know just what you're thinking. RVD says Lynn was on top of his game, but he was better. No bullshit stories is what he said he wanted in ECW. He just wanted good challenges, and Lynn does challenge him. He then refers to himself as Mr. PPV RVD.
Yeah.
Prazak is cut off when it goes back to Styles, which I'm fine with.
Yeah, I just don't care.
Styles sets the scene for the main event.
Yes.
Sabu, who has... Oh, actually, I should reference in that RVD actually, as the champion, challenged Jerry Lynn to a rematch, which that was fine.
Yeah, fine.
Salvageable.
I'd rather a champ do the challenge than someone unrelated just goes, I'll tell you what, in 2 weeks' time you're going to have a rematch. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Sabu, who has a fractured jaw, makes his way to the ring. His jaw tape says F you on it, and we see a sign that says, Paul E. bounced my check. So Paul E. Dangerously,
okay.
Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
So basically, like I said, ECW was working with a shoestring budget, and towards the latter days, it was fairly commonplace that Paul would bounce a lot of checks to the talent and wouldn't be doing what he should be, and ended up getting in a lot of trouble. That's how he lost some of his employees in the first place, from bouncing checks, trying to rob Peter to pay Paul. So one time someone would, someone wouldn't, and it all became very messy. So as you can see in 99, already there's enough common knowledge out there in the wrestling fandom world that this is a thing that's happening, and I saw a crowd sign, so that's why
I saw it, but I didn't really.
No, it's fair, but I thought I'd add a bit of meat onto the bones for it.
No, that's nice, because at this point I was just godding over the fact that Whistleman is fucking back.
Yeah, Whistleman is back. Bill Alfonso, ladies and gentlemen. Taz makes his way to the ring with the lights dimmed, red, and this is the badass Taz that we all need.
This is my first time seeing Taz in a unitard. I'm used to him in the trousers.
Oh, I know what you mean. Like overalls, isn't it?
Yeah.
Cut off armed overalls.
But I was like, oh, okay.
This is how he wrestled.
Yeah.
And it works. I think it works for him.
It does.
He does have an amateur wrestling background as well, I believe, at high school level. I don't think he was collegiate. But
the thing as well, I'm sorry, I'm so focused on their outfits.
No, go for it.
Again, he's got the unitard, which is fine. No knee pads, which I've mentioned to you before watching stuff. When people have bare legs and don't have knee pads, it's odd to me. It reminds me of, is it Dragunov from NXT?
Ilya Dragunov.
And I'm like, there's a whole lot of leg here. Like, it's so strange, and I mean, it's fine. But I don't know why. It just confuses me.
Are you perving over Taz?
No, I just like to look at the legs and just see.
See what's
Compare
there.
them to the extreme of, the level that we're hitting on
different
legs.
levels of legs.
Absolutely. I've got to get my kicks where I
No,
can.
you do whatever you need. So this is Sabu with Bill Alfonso versus Taz for a unification match for the ECW heavyweight and the FTW heavyweight title.
Yeah.
I've mentioned to you before what FTW is, and we see it in AEW now. Do you remember that conversation that we had?
Yes.
You can say no. Okay, so
No, I
let me
do
explain it
remember.
again.
Nah.
Taz grabs a mic and wants to make this an extreme death match, which is apparently just falls count anywhere.
Yeah.
Alfonso doesn't want Sabu to accept, but Sabu is an animal, so he does.
Yeah.
And then he immediately dives for the legs of Taz, but misses.
Yes.
Decent mat exchange sees Taz get a cradle for 2, and then apparently non-English speaking Sabu tells a cameraman to get the fuck out of his way.
Yes.
They exchange... Wait, I'll allow you to enjoy this. They exchange go-behinds until Sabu grabs the ropes.
Yeah.
Taz calls him a pussy, and Sabu throws 2 rights, but is cracked in response, which drops him. Sabu blocks 2 crossface strikes and arm drags Taz. The crossface strike always looks nasty to me, where you throw the forearm to the side of the head.
Yeah.
It looks very unpleasant. Very good, though, when done right. Sabu blocks 2 crossface strikes and arm drags Taz in response. Taz looks for a submission, but Sabu makes the ropes again. Series of crossfaces now land, and a Brooklyn boot, as they called it on commentary, has Sabu seeing stars.
Oh,
Basically a Yakuza kick.
yeah.
He reverses a corner whip, however, and connects with a springboard leg lariat for 2. We're starting to see Sabu take to the air, as he is wont to do. Slingshot somersault leg drop results in the same.
That's very nice.
Yes, I thought you might like that.
Yeah. Oh, and then it's coming. The next bit. Oh.
Yeah. So, okay, well, I think there's one bit
There
before
is a
that.
bit,
but yes.
yeah.
So Sabu just tosses a chair at the heavyweight champ, just aimlessly.
Yeah.
Air Sabu then connects in the corner, which is the poetry in motion without the person there.
That's exactly what I put. Poetry in motion.
Of course you did. Baseball slide to the floor.
Yeah.
Sabu throws Taz into the fans,
Of course.
comes back into the ring and springboards all the way into a chair from Taz.
Honestly ridiculous.
So
ridiculous.
Sabu's mid-air, Taz just grabs a chair, throws it at him, so there's no real way to stop.
It's at this point I think my interest kind of was like, oh, hang on, I might actually really enjoy this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good, like that. They brawl into the crowd, and this is the shit I hate, because the camera doesn't follow them.
No.
So you can see
Can't see
them
anything.
walking up the aisleway,
Yeah.
in the fans, throwing punches, and that's it.
And of course, here, it's like the C parts, they walk up and the C goes back. Whereas, obviously, when they do that in WWE, it's different and it's not as brutal. But they're going up a clear walkway, so you can actually see.
Finally, they get a camera there as they start walking back. Chair from Sabu. From the ramp, Sabu runs off. Wait, what? No. Let me start that bit again. From the ramp, Sabu runs off a chair and wipes out Taz in the crowd for a near fall. On the ramp, Taz just throws Sabu into the fans.
Yeah.
Just grabs him, throws him.
Yeah.
Great. Back in the ring for a second before the table is set up by Sabu between the ring and the guardrail.
I really feel like I've completely lost something here.
No, they came back from the crowd.
Yeah.
What have you got?
No, I'm so lost in my sea of notes.
A C?
Oh yeah, there's
Normally
loads.
it's a
Look,
puddle. Oh, that's actually a load.
there is a load.
Oh, wow.
But I don't know where I am anymore.
No, fine.
I've lost. I'll wait for you to say one thing, and then I'll be like, "Oh, here we are."
Sure. Apologies if I
Oh,
caused
table
that.
balanced. Right, I'm in.
Yeah.
Right.
So, the table is put up between the guardrail and the ring,
Yes.
which we know what that means. Holy shit. Taz does an overhead belly-to-belly from the ring, crashing Sabu through the table onto the floor. And the way the table collapses, Sabu goes pretty much neck first through to the floor. And I know your feelings on that.
You know how it, honestly...
But it was
awful.
a beautiful table break. And to be fair, it was slow enough that I don't think there was an issue there.
And then the camera cuts out.
Yes, that's how good the throw was.
Honestly.
The feed dies, and so does Sabu. Taz drops him jaw first on the guardrail, and we see some blood here.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think this was intentional blood either.
No.
Taz sees the camera and asks Flair if he wants some, and calls Sabu a cocksucker when he pokes him in the eye. Another thrown chair to the head of Taz. Fonzie wants to throw the towel in Fazaboo. That sounds like a character from the Jungle Book, Fazaboo. Yeah. Fonzie wants to throw the towel in for Sabu, but Sabu stops him from doing that.
Yes.
We really see Sabu here. His jaw bleeds heavily.
Very heavy.
And I don't think that... Because why would you
wouldn't
cut...
blade the inside of your mouth.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he maybe bit something inside his mouth,
yeah.
and there's just a lot of blood as a result of it. I didn't really look into the ins and outs of it, if I'm honest with you.
It just looks grim.
It does. On the ramp again, and the crowd wants Sabu thrown at them, and Taz does oblige, but Sabu falls short and hits the guardrail, and the crowd go, oh.
Yeah.
Fonzie hits Taz with a chair and runs off as the human suplex machine just marches him back down behind the curtain.
I just like that you call him Fonzie. Just makes me smile.
Oh, that's all right.
The Fonz.
Yeah, the Fonz. Yeah. But I just like the fact he ran off as soon as he hit it. And Taz is like, what? You just... Yeah, good. In the ring, and Sabu drops a leg over the neck of Taz for 2. Camel clutch, and this is where I really see the amount of blood that's coming out of Sabu here. Table in the ring, but Sabu hits a leaping Super Hurricane Rana from the corner for 2.
Yes.
Face full of sausage for Taz, but he turns it into a sit-out powerbomb.
Face full of sausage.
Delay before the cover and a 2 count.
Mm-hmm.
Back on the floor, and Taz gets whipped into the guardrail.
Yeah.
From the apron, Sabu looks for a sunset flip bomb to the floor, and thank God they flubbed it, as Taz would have ceased to live.
Yes.
Because you could see the feet of the guardrail was where his head would have come down. And Taz, you can even see saying to them, move back, move back.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that was as poorly executed as it was. So then from there, where we go, from the apron, Sabu looks for... thank God they flubbed it, as Taz would have ceased to live, not for nothing. Only a 2 count. Now Taz is laid atop a table positioned on the corner of the guardrail, so it's like the apex where they meet. Sabu takes flight from the top turnbuckle and splashes Taz through the table to the floor.
Honestly, this aged me, this match. I could just feel my internal body just getting older watching it. Just nervous.
Only another 2 count though. Sabu in the ring hits a double leg drop whilst holding a chair. 2 count. Pump handle Tazplex gets a 2. Very nice. This is what I'm talking about, the variety.
Yes.
Sabu with a soft chair shot to the head before a triple jump moonsault connects for a near fall.
I loved it.
Having said that, did you see the chair skid as he put his foot on it? And then I go, because I've seen Sabu flub a lot of this stuff in his later career. But to give him credit, I don't think he fucked up anything on this one specifically. So. Head and arm Tazplex in response before Sabu has his head driven into the standing chair. Sabu with a triple jump leg drop. And the chair... that's it. That's where the chair slides, excuse me.
Awful. Which
is another near fall. Tazplex and a super Tazplex. Taz then crawls for the cover, but only gets a 2.
Yeah.
Dragon suplex through a table in the corner, which again folds Sabu onto his neck.
I don't like that. I'm sorry. I've literally put here, it's not the one for me.
Yeah.
Stop now. I'm done.
That's as well one where you don't get a lot of say in how you land either. Mm-hmm. So that is the concern.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Especially seeing as Sabu has had his neck broken in a match with the Crippler, Chris Benoit.
Oh.
How he got his nickname. Somehow Sabu kicks out of that. Taz mission applied as Fonzie throws the towel in, but Sabu grabs it and throws it back out. Yeah. Even in the clutches of defeat, he's not giving up. Holly, can you do me the honours here, please? For the first one. Yeah.
I'm asleep. I'm awake.
There it is. And then the second time, he's asleep. He's asleep. Oh, he's asleep. And that's it. Sabu is out.
Yeah.
Taz then offers Sabu respect and shakes his hand to end the show. Holly, what do you score that main event?
I actually gave that a 3.5. 3.5 pushing a 4. What are you showing me? What? Really? 3.5? I tell you, I'm coming for his job.
Yeah, Dave Meltzer scored it at 3.5. And I don't disagree with 3.5. But I very much disagree with that scoring the same as Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't think I can't go back. And it was one of those matches where it started and I was like, I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy this. Literally within 2 minutes, I was here for it. And Sabu, I didn't think I'd enjoy his wrestling.
His brand of wrestling.
Absolutely here for it. He's very much my type of wrestler. That's my, as in the moves. It's the same to me, similar as RVD. It's similar. It's just, I like it.
Nice.
I'm here for it.
Big fan of that. What then, because this is, like I said, your first time, honestly, and it sounds like we're exaggerating, but Holly has never seen an ECW show before.
No, I really haven't.
So, as your first dipping your toes into the extreme pool, what do you think of the show overall? Give it a little bit of analysis, and what would you score it?
So, I actually wrote this down because I knew I'd forget, especially as I went straight into watching something else. So I put, as a whole show, it was a different vibe. So I didn't want to think about what I'd voted for other, I suppose WWF, whatever, shows. So I actually put it as, I put it as 6, pushing 6.5 out of 10, which for me I think is fairly high. I just put, there were some less exciting moments, but, it's my stomach rumbling. RVD and Jerry Lynn match, Tajiri, super crazy match, this match, brilliant.
First match,
absolutely.
Middle match, end match.
Yeah.
So you're happy.
It's the Holly trifecta.
I agree. I would give this show, I think 6.5.
Yeah.
Maybe 6.75 around that area, because some of the bad was very bad, but some of the good was excellent.
Very good, yes.
So I think when all things are factored in, that's probably where I land, and I'm really happy that you didn't hate the show, because now you're going to be more open when an ECW show comes up to the table for analysis next time.
Absolutely.
I think I'll go to you to give the socials, but there's one thing that I need to do after you've done the socials.
Okay.
But have you got them at the ready to share with the loving listeners?
You'd hope at this point I wouldn't need to look at them, but I do, just in case I say the wrong thing. Email is wintwicepod@gmail.com, and then Instagram, TikTok, YouTube is all wintwicepod.
And an example of that, we've had an email come in from one of our listeners.
Love that.
And they've suggested a couple of shows.
Okay.
So before I read the email, I will say for any future emails that come in, I would suggest just a couple things for him. Not criticising this, because the email's perfectly fine.
Yes.
But what would be interesting was if the shows that you're recommending to us, if you gave us your thoughts on the show as well. Because what I'll do is I'll read the suggestion part out, and then your thoughts on the show, when we cover that show on an episode, I will then read that part of the email out as part of the overall analysis to see what listeners thought.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you know, I was going to say we need to, I guess, be a bit more forthcoming with advertising the shows that we're doing, because then people can get ahead of us and send us their thoughts on it. So I'll just read this verbatim, and if for whatever reason you don't want your full name reading out or anything like that, specify and I'll make sure I don't. This one does give full name, so I'm assuming that it's okay to read that.
Okay.
So it says, "Hey Holly and Scott, really been enjoying the podcast. Pretty big old school wrestling fan. With the recent retirement of Sting, I'd like to request a couple of WCW 1992 pay-per-view reviews. Beach Blast 92, which including Sting versus Cactus Jack in the first Falls Count Anywhere match on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And Starrcade 92, with Sting versus Vader in one of their best matches. Thanks, keep it up, Keith Beard."
Lovely. That's such a nice email.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? So
Love
thank you,
that.
Keith, for reaching out to us. Greatly appreciated. One of those shows we can definitely do.
Yes.
The other one I'm saving for down the line for something.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if I've mentioned it to you before what I'm planning, but we won't. I'll be honest, that particular one we won't get to for a while, but I'll make sure that we get into the other show within the next few recordings. So we've got, obviously, the next upcoming week one is back to the Mania grind. So we've got WrestleMania 6 upcoming for anyone that has any thoughts on that show that they'd like reading out. And because we needed a fairly short show for the following week due to scheduling, etc., we've already picked that one. So after that, again, we'll be back to Mania, but then I'll make sure that we fit this one in. So within the next 4 weeks, Keith, I'll make sure that we cover off. I'll tell you which one we'll cover off. We'll cover off Beach Blast 92.
Okay.
Which will be Holly's first ever WCW pay-per-view.
Oh my God, it will.
That you'll see.
Yeah.
I've got some memories of Beach Blast 92 as well, but I won't say anything at this moment in time. But yeah, thank you, Keith, for contacting us. It's really nice to see that kind of engagement. I encourage it from people. So now you know about upcoming shows, guys and girls. If you have any comments, do send them to us.
Yeah.
I think with all things being equal, Holly, that's pretty much everything we wanted to cover off on this one, is it?
Absolutely.
So thank you very much, everyone, for listening, for taking the time out of your busy schedule, or if anything, we're helping you through boring chores by having us ramble on about the world of fake sports as you're getting through your daily life. Hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you tune in for future episodes. But yeah, from myself and Holly, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.